News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Fireworks and gunshots. Sunny and hot already. It's 77 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. 2 women and a man were shot early this morning near the canal downtown. IMPD saying that it was just after midnight when the call came in, and they got to the canal near Indiana Avenue to find the victims.
It's very disheartening. Like anything, there's people that come downtown to try to have a good time and enjoy themselves. And this individual, opened fire on these individuals.
All 3 recovering at the hospital, says IMPD Major Mike Leeper. That was one of a handful of shootings over the 4th. It was a 16-year-old girl who was killed in a shooting at a block party on the east side on Monday.
Next thing we know, we heard fireworks, then you heard some sound like gunshot. Then you start seeing the kids start to scatter.
Pastor Donald Edwards Jr., who leads a church near where the shooting happened. 4 other people were hurt in that shooting as well. They got themselves to the hospital. Police are looking for the shooter. 2 homes caught fire in McCordsville on the 4th. Harrison Silcox reports.
The cause of the fire is because someone improperly tossed firework debris into a trash can. That started the fire, which spread to the home and then to a neighbor's house early Tuesday morning. Firefighters were able to show up and put out both fires, and nobody was hurt. Firefighters are reminding you to be safe when handling and throwing away any fireworks. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Gas prices are still lower if you're driving home from your 4th of July destination today. $3.32 is the average for unleaded in Indiana, says Gas Buddy. The cheapest is $2.75 in Carmel. He's a winner again.
For his 16th win, I give you the number 1 ranked eater in the world, Joey Chestnut!
Joey Chestnut, who lives in Westfield, ate 62 hot dogs and buns to win the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest over the weekend. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
You got a Kurt northbound 65 coming out of the North Split crash. Meridian Penn blocking the left lane, stopping traffic into the North Split. Traffic sponsored by the LASIK Center. TLC Laser Eye Centers is the doctor's choice for LASIK. Get $1,000 off LASIK when treated in July. That's $500 off per eye plus guaranteed financing. Visit saveontlc.com for details. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
I feel bad for the Johnson kids next door. Their parents just use their phone for home internet. So when everyone's online, it could be mad slow. Tom can barely play a full round of Horse Commander 3. Luckily, we get fast and reliable internet from Xfinity, so I can game while everyone's on with basically no interruptions.
Hey, Jess, can I, borrow some eggs?
You want a game here?
Please.
Now through July 21st, new customers can get 75 megabit internet and 1 line of unlimited mobile together for just $50 a month for 12 months with no annual contract from Xfinity, home of the 10G network. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Sunny skies, hot temperatures, a pop-up storm possible late in the afternoon. Today's high around 90. Tonight we are partly cloudy and muggy with showers and storms overnight, a low of 70. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
77 and sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
It is Wednesday, July 5th. It is 6 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall's still out for a few more days, enjoying his new baby. And we have Tony Kinnett, who's filling in today. Thank you so much for coming in today, Tony.
It is absolutely always a pleasure to join you on the air.
Before we get started, let's all do a quick digit check. We all have our fingers, all of them? Okay, good news. We're all whole, and I hope you are as well. I hope you had a good 4th 4th of July.
Oh, it's a fireworks joke.
Yes.
I didn't understand for a second. I
We
was
all
really
have our
nervous.
digits.
Oh, yeah.
No. We're all in one piece, though, this morning,
Well,
correct?
my wife was watching Alias yesterday, and a guy got his finger cut off, and that's what came to mind. I was like, man, I haven't been interrogated recently.
No, I'm talking about an accident in the yard with the fireworks.
No, but when I was a kid, my dad did accidentally knock over the fireworks and plastered the side of my grandparents' house with it, and that was fun.
Did it melt the siding?
No, it was brick, praise the Lord.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Hopefully nobody was hurt in that incident. Let's start off by talking about what's going on in the White House, shall we?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so President Biden, he hosted a barbecue for active duty military families. This happened on the White House lawn last night. It was ahead of the nighttime fireworks they had on the National Mall. But during a sweep of the White House, they found a white powdery substance.
Oh, good.
They're saying it was in a holding area, which was accessible to both White House staffers and guests. It did test positive for cocaine.
Hey.
What?
Just cocaine. Good. Nice to know that we're all on the right track here.
Yes, cocaine in the White House. The White House was evacuated. The president and his family, they left. They returned to the White House about 36 hours after the substance was found.
Did they return the crack to the White House family? I know how close the Bidens are when it comes to cocaine.
They like to share, huh? Maybe. They had to have a hazmat team there in the executive mansion. Okay, so who does it belong to? How did it get there? And we probably know why, possibly. So we know Hunter Biden has acknowledged a prior addiction to crack. We've all seen the laptop from hell pictures, right?
Right.
He clearly has an issue. He was on the grounds on Friday before he went off to Camp David with his father for the second weekend in a row, keep in mind. And then he did return to the White House to watch the 4th of July fireworks with the family. And this is just hours after the cocaine was found on the premises.
So, of course I can speculate that Hunter Biden, who has a raging cocaine addiction, this could have belonged to him. However, we can actually find out exactly who this belongs to because from my time as a little West Point junior cadet boy, I know for a fact that the White House has every single angle at every kind of public venue event in history very closely video cameraed from every single angle. And unlike your local convenience store, where everything looks like it was filmed on a 1955 potato, these cameras are very high resolution, and they actually record and store in high resolution just in case the Secret Service needs to go back and carefully review data. So this is really a case where if the White House wants to reveal who owns it, hey, I mean, there's never been an easier case. Just sit a couple of interns down and start rewinding.
Roll the tape.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if it was in the old executive office building, it's likely staff. That's not a good look at all. Little toot to keep them awake. As they spin the Biden administration lies.
I've been to several Democrat and Republican conferences, and I can tell you very firmly that there were a lot of people that I did not associate with and still do not associate with because they do have drug addictions. For interns, this is absolutely a thing. It is definitely something that a lot of college political scientists imbibe in. And it's something that, they watch Wolf of Wall Street, they think it's okay, and then, hey, it's time to grab the cocaine. So I think it very much could be an intern or a staffer at the White House because, again, it's D.C. The swamp is infested with this stuff. This is their Adderall of choice.
Okay, so do you think there's any chance that somebody planted it there to make Hunter look, he doesn't need any help, but to make him look worse than what he already is?
No, I think that's probably putting a tinfoil hat on another tinfoil hat that doesn't fit as well. Because in this case, it would be enough of a nerve-wracking situation to get it past security in the first place.
Right. They're taking a huge risk if they're going to do something like that.
Yeah, the White House has 8 drug and bomb-sniffing dogs on staff at any time, not to mention the extras that might be brought on for some type of event situation like this. So, in this case, maybe, I guess, a staffer. I'm just amazed that someone, again, these are supposed to be high-value things.
Right.
Why would you leave it behind? Like, I'm always doing, the 2 pats and a spank whenever I leave to see if I have my keys, wallet, and phone. How do you just, leave your cocaine? I don't really get that one personally.
Well, how did it get in there? If there's dogs, like you said, don't they notice something like that?
Well, if you're a high enough VIP, you do not have to go through the metal detectors and the security and things like that. They just let you in because they know that you are above reproach. That's a security term, above reproach. And so in this case, it would have to be someone that has a high level of staffing or a high level of clearance or they might have been walking behind that high level of clearance person, which happens quite often. People get in walking next to important people all the time. That's how a lot of the security risks in our country happen.
Daily Mail's reporting that it was not in the West Wing. It was in the West Wing, not in the library. What are the chances that we're going to find out who it belonged to?
I would start looking for.
You want to start gambling on that one?
Yeah, I would start looking for the answer on this one as soon as we read the Nashville Trans Shooter Manifesto or find out the motive behind the Las Vegas shooting from several years ago.
Okay, so not very likely. Is what
Absolutely
you're saying.
none.
Okay, it's 12 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. That is Tony Kinnett filling in today. And Biden also spent the holiday celebrating teachers. Woo! Before he was medicated like my dog so that he doesn't get spooked by the fireworks. He said it again, Tony. He did the whole line that they're not your children, but all of our children.
You know, I've often say, and you're tired of hearing me saying it probably, but children are the kite strings. They're not somebody else's children. They're all our children. Are the kite strings that lift our national ambitions aloft. And you hold those strings. You hold those strings. And our job is to make sure you have what you need to do what you do best. That's why through the American Rescue Plan, we delivered critical support for schools, including funding for after-school programs, summer programs, hiring more teachers, counselors, school psychologists. Folks, in fact, more than 80% of school superintendents say they're using those funds in the American Rescue Plan to help students recover academically.
All right, we heard a lot of booms last night. We don't need to hear any more of that.
Yeah,
I mean, your
absolutely.
ears are probably already sensitive this morning, so we don't need to punish you anymore. But he did it again. They're not your children, but all of our children, except for his granddaughter. She's not everyone's child. She's not even Hunter's child at this point.
Yeah, she's not allowed to use the name Biden according to the settlement in which, Hunter schlepped a stripper and had a child, and
Right.
that child is not allowed to call President Biden grandpa. So, yeah, I guess the number one way to protect your child is just prove that they are distantly related somehow to President Biden.
Well, it's now being reported that aides in the White House, possibly the same ones that are doing the toot-toot on the side,
Nice.
they're being told that they only have 6 grandchildren. Like, it is an official statement from the administration to the aides, 6 grandchildren, not 7.
I mean, this is what happens when you treat the family as some type of a throwaway kind of just useless unit that doesn't actually need to be protected or respected. You get these kind of weird situations where it's rules for thee but not for me kind of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to point out, though, that he says 80% of superintendents say they're using COVID funds to close the gaps by the COVID pandemic.
Which they caused. But
Yeah, I was
go
going to say
ahead.
the gaps
Yeah.
that they also said didn't exist. I remember several months of reporting, everyone from the Indianapolis Star to Chalkbeat to the New York Times, saying very overtly, well, there's no learning loss. It wasn't even caused by COVID. It's really caused by Republicans. And by the way, it should be pointed out that we're not actually closing any learning gaps in those public schools. Guess what? IPS, their reading scores are still just as bad. Are they taking in more money? Absolutely.
Well, sure.
Is it helping kids read? No.
Let's
Not at all.
just throw money at the problem.
And it's worked before, and by worked before, I mean, of course, it has failed miserably now dozens of times. But yeah, let's try it again. I mean, we have one of those running for governor in Indiana right now. I'm sure that'll work.
So another thing that has happened over the weekend, just yesterday, a little birthday present to America. The U.S. District Judge, this is in Louisiana, Judge Terry Doughty, said that tech companies can't censor. They can't do any of the censorship. They can't guide. They can't tell. This all part of that injunction that came down on Tuesday. And they're actually saying that the Biden administration possibly violated First Amendment, right? So this means that a judge has ruled that the government can, 1, no longer censor you, 2, no longer flag your posts, 3, no longer dictate social media policies, and 4, no longer communicate with these companies to censor you. And that's a big deal.
It is, and it's even funnier because all of the legacy media institutions who have made bank over the last couple of years making sure that only the proper and right opinions got out to the dumb, stupid public.
What are the proper and right opinions, though?
Why,
That's
whatever
the thing.
whatever the New York Times says they are.
Oh.
And of course, 19 hours ago, the New York Times released an article which says that a judge limiting the Biden administration from contacting social media sites could curtail efforts to fight disinformation. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The First Amendment is a problem. That is misinformation. It needs to be corrected. And these evil, horrible judges in the courts and the Supreme Courts, they're just fascist Nazis who don't go along with the fantastic progressives who are trying to keep our children safe.
Well, this judge said that federal officials and agencies, which includes the Biden's cabinet members and the White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, that they're not allowed to contact social media companies anymore.
And here's the question. Why would you need to contact social media companies? I don't see why it would be necessary. And they say, well, what if we want to release a statement? Then put it out on whitehouse.gov. Like everyone else, if I make a press statement, I get this all the time. I actually got an email this morning from Vivek Ramaswamy's team with some stupid press release that I don't care about. Don't send me your press releases. If you are important enough to merit a press release, I will go find it and read it. Don't send it. You don't need to contact me. I'll contact you. I'm the journo, so to speak.
Chances are you're not going to read it anyway.
No, I don't want to hear what KJP has to lie about today and backtrack tomorrow.
Exactly. Chances are it's going to get lost in all your other emails anyway. It is 17 minutes after 9. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
As the temperatures get higher,
Up to 105.
so do the number of presidential candidates.
Additional presidential candidates.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
I intend to seek the Republican nomination.
Former Vice President Pence.
I'm announcing I'm running for President of the United States.
All the cool kids are running this year.
Announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
How that could possibly happen.
What happens next?
We'll see what happens.
Happens here. 93 WIBC.
Are you working way too hard for way too little? There's never been a better time to consider a career in IT. You could enjoy a recession-resistant career in a rewarding field with plenty of growth opportunities and often flexible work environments. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new career in months, not years. Take classes online or on campus, and financial aid is available to qualified students, including the GI Bill. Now is the time. mycomputercareer.edu.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.com. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Cuban sandwiches as big as your head. It's Hammer the Palavana Cubano there in the Garage Food Hall in the Bottleworks District is so good, and the Cuban pastries are out of this world as well.
They are fantastic.
It's unbelievable.
You know what else is good? The fish sandwich, the traditional fish sandwich at Jay's Lobster and Fish Market right there in the Garage Food Hall. And when you stop by, check out that lobster mac and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Best
so
in
good.
Indianapolis. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Is your Generac home standby generator ready for the next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. GeneratorSupercenter.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
I gotta tell you, I can't stand that guy.
And Casey Daniels.
I'm in love and I don't care who knows it.
On 93 WIBC.
I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you
21 minutes after 9, you're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall still on paternity leave, and Tony Kinnett joins us today. So it was touch and go there for a while, Tony.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of misinformation out there. Wasn't sure if it was going to happen or not. But in the end, yes, not even a weather delay can stop Joey Chestnut.
That's right.
This guy downed 62 hot dogs to claim his 16th mustard belt.
Wary looks like he's got fourth. Here's the count.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put down your hot dog! With 62 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes for his 16th win, I give you the number 1 ranked eater in the world, Joey Chestnut!
Fantastic. When there was talk of the rain delay or a possible cancellation, I mean, it was the biggest story in the entire world yesterday when this was happening.
As it should be. I mean, the American pastime of downing as many glizzies as humanly possible is one of the things that we built our Constitution on. Everyone knows that immediately after the signing, the founders went out and enjoyed a fantastic 84 hot dog lunch. And this is one of the things that Joey really brings forward here. I mean, he's an American hero, given the Presidential Medal of Freedom already.
Can you imagine? Do you know how many calories that is? 18,414 calories.
Woo!
Yeah. So it's almost 1,500 carbs. And really, you'd think it would have a lot of high protein count, but not really. 682. I mean, that is a high protein count.
Well, also, you have to think of what they're cooked in. I mean, the sodium as well that's going to retain all of those calories. Oh, good Lord. I couldn't handle it.
Okay, so he has now won the event 16 out of the last 17 years. Is he the most dominant athlete of all time?
I mean, you know, as long as he doesn't have some kind of a steroid or a weed scandal like the Olympians.
Right, no doping?
Yeah, maybe it's his cocaine at the White House.
No, I doubt that. We would never allow that. But, you know, just send Joey Chestnut in to solve all the world problems because apparently it was him. He was like, no, we're doing this. When there was talk of canceling it and there was the rain delay and he said, no, we're on it. So just send Joey Chestnut in to solve all of the world's problems because he's not going to tolerate any nonsense, right?
I've been fasting for 3 months. It's like Ron Swanson when he hasn't eaten before they drive up to Indianapolis for the steakhouse. He's like, we are eating no matter what. He's like walking in, like eating things from the crowd on his way up as a pregame. Man's a legend.
He was asked if the rain delay affected his game plan. Joey Chestnut's answer? Nah.
How does that rain delay affect you? You're just having to wait and you can't eat. Are you drinking liquids? What's going on backstage?
It's weird because I try to time everything out. So not only am I empty, I'm amped up. And it all got, everybody got messed up and it affected me. But dude, I feel great. I got leftover room, so I'll be having some beers later.
Leftover room. Oh my gosh, no way.
Well, if you look at last year, he did perform, I'm not going to say worse because he still won, but he did eat fewer hot dogs than he did last year. What was it? Was it 4 or 8 hot dogs fewer than last year?
Well, he also had that guy that came up on stage and he had said that had that guy not interrupted him, he probably would have eaten a few more. So that plays into it. But I do believe we do have some audio of him after dealing with the rain, ESPN wanting to cancel the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, and after he fought his way with everybody, no, we're doing this. Near weather cancellation, we do have his reaction in this exclusive interview after the contest is over.
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff. I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last. You know what I'm talking
about? That's fantastic. I'm so glad that you got that audio queued up.
That's not really Joey Chestnut.
No, of course not.
Not at all. Okay, let's talk about this video that Eric Holcomb released. It's a patriotic video for Independence Day. Let's take a listen.
Indiana's long been a state of patriots, home to countless proud Americans who know what it means to answer the call. In fact, Indianapolis is second only to D.C. for the number of memorials and monuments dedicated to our veterans, serving as a constant reminder of their sacrifice. And the reason we hold our hands over our hearts saying, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With liberty and justice for all, except here's the problem. Hoosiers weren't free under his tenure, right? He took our rights away with his executive orders. How about that affected Reed? Did you feel it?
Oh, I did. Did you hear the corporate AI generated orchestra in the background that's like in every single movie? I almost thought I'd hear Morgan Freeman, come see the high school football team that changed everything. And you're like, that's the kind of music you would expect this summer. Like that's kind of where it would come through. I mean, I'm always laugh at these kind of things because they're so fake. I really do. I can't stand these kinds of like made up videos almost as much as I can't stand like Republican primary Lincoln Day dinners. They're all fake. There's nothing real or genuine about them. And again, Holcomb, who just endorsed Mike Pence, the Mike Pence that thought the most important thing was to make a surprise trip to Ukraine, that guy. So Holcomb, who's made sure that if your kid wasn't masked up, he was going to charge your parents with a Class B misdemeanor. And if you weren't going to, he's talking about the monuments.
Yeah.
The monument in like Monument Circle, right? The one where like, crimes happen. He can't even, keep Indianapolis safe. He can't even keep, Indianapolis, the city second to DC in memorials that also beats out Chicago in gun murders. I mean, I just don't.
It's there to stir patriotism, but you didn't feel it, huh?
No, because he didn't actually cite anything patriotic. I mean, he cited the number of monuments in a city. And also this Indiana GOP thing that is obsessed with Indianapolis, I find distasteful. A lot of our listening audience is outside of Indianapolis. They are, like in the counties that exist outside of Marion. I know it's kind of a shock to a lot of individuals, especially probably some that are listening in this building right now, that there's more Indiana than Indianapolis. And every time the Indiana GOP focuses all of its attention on Indianapolis, the town
excluding everyone else.
Yeah, the town that also hates rural Hoosiers the most. I'm sorry. No, I would rather hear someone talk about all of the other great communities and rural areas in this beautiful state than the number of monuments we have in this concrete-ridden nightmare.
Okay, so you had mentioned Mike Pence. Mike Pence has his own video, and we're going to get to that coming up. 93 WIBC.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new place. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting Gallon 25. Rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. And I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. You actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Earn cash back every time you buy gas. Text Gallon 25 to 200-300 for an exclusive link to download the free Upside app and get an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. Cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just text Gallon 25 to 200-300 to download the free Upside app and get an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus. Text the word Gallon 25 to 200-300. Text Gallon 25 to 200-300.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Not something you think would be found in the White House. It's 79 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Cocaine was found in the president's home in Washington.
There are more questions about who's coming in and out of the White House after cocaine was found in the West Wing. It appears these drugs were discovered on Sunday while the president was away. They were found in a work area of the West Wing. The Secret Service put out a statement, a spokesperson writing, the D.C. Fire Department was called to evaluate and quickly determine the item to be non-hazardous. The item was sent for further evaluation, and an investigation into the cause and manner of how it entered the White House is pending.
Fox's Mark Meredith. Twitter CEO Linda Yasserino is defending Elon Musk's decision to limit the number of tweets users can see. On Tuesday, she tweeted, "When you have a mission like Twitter, you need to make big moves to make the platform better." Well, Twitter apparently didn't warn anybody about the decision to temporarily limit tweets because it didn't want any harmful accounts to be able to adjust to the change beforehand. And now the stock report on 93 WIBC. We are in the red to start the day. The Dow is down 192 at 34,227. The Nasdaq down 36 to 13,780, and the S&P 500 is down 18 to 4,437. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminars Thursday, July 20th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, July 22nd at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day and nothing worked until Mark Patrick hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy. Enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Join Mark Patrick seminars. Early bird special only $49.99. Thursday, July 20th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, July 22nd, Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com. Now through month end, get summer road trip ready at Hubler, where every new car includes their 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Visit drivehubler.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Why can't you see?
It's 9:34. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall is out on paternity leave. Tony Kinnett is sitting in with us today. I had a big round of gunshot or firework last night.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
That's what we play on our deck. Especially last night. It was like the grand finale game of gunshot or firework, and I'm most certain that I heard a lot of both. But yesterday, spent a good portion of the day, at least 10 hours, driving across the country. Took a road trip, went to D.C., and then yesterday had to make it all the way back to Indianapolis. So Virginia to Maryland to Pennsylvania to West Virginia, back through Pennsylvania, back through West Virginia, and then Ohio, and then to Indianapolis.
I mean, I've only ever made that, back in CPAC, after CPAC 2020, I drove through the night back on an Adderall and coffee-fueled rage. And it was, I didn't even realize because I was in D.C., it was freezing, raining in Pennsylvania. It was a horrible trip. I would never, ever, ever do that again. Making the trip in one day from D.C. it's a haul.
It is a haul, but my experience was a lot different because it was a beautiful day and really didn't run into any problems. The traffic was okay. The weather was okay.
You don't really see a lot of freezing rain in July.
Well, no, but I did see some beautiful part of the country. I had no idea the hills and the rolling hills in the panhandle of Maryland. It was a part of the country I'd never been to before.
It's wonderful. It's one of my favorite parts of interstate travel is how they actually wrap you around Maryland and Pennsylvania back and forth for a bit.
Yeah, we were on 68 for a while, and it's called America's Highway, the Scenic Byway of America. It was beautiful. I had no idea. I'd never been on it before.
Appalachia truly is one of my favorite parts of the country.
So that's how I spent a good portion of my 4th of July. But Donald Trump, how did he celebrate Independence Day? He lit off some fireworks of his own. He shared a late night meme. And let me just read this meme to you. So the original poster says 81 million votes, and I've never seen a pro-Biden hat, shirt, or flag in my life. And then at the bottom, there's a flag that says Duck Biden. Doesn't really say duck, but you get the picture.
Sure.
And then Trump retruthed it, and he said, true, no Biden hats anywhere, never seen one. It's a good point. Now, when I was on my way out to Washington, D.C., I did see quite a few Trump flags in West Virginia. Not a lot in Indiana, not a lot in Ohio, but I saw a lot in West Virginia. But is this the decorum now that we can expect from former presidents?
Look, I actually was about 20 feet away from the former president at the Moms for Liberty conference over the weekend. I had a table up front. I was covering the event, and I got to watch the entire Trump speech from start to finish, from when he began with, listening to the applause and also waiting through I'm proud to be an American to the very end where he started to dance. Like that's an hour later at the closing music, doing his little back and forth Trump dance. And it was interesting. I will say that a lot of the protesters outside were wearing pro-Biden Harris merch. There definitely is a cut of people who are very pro-Biden and Harris. But yeah, as far as the decorum, President Trump has no PR, public decorum, and that's what a lot of people like about him. Now, personally, as to what I believe about that's kind of irrelevant. I simply say that Trump has a lot of that boisterous, get out there, F Joe Biden energy, and everyone really responds well to that because, shocker, after the way that Biden has ruined this country, people ain't too fond.
Yeah. There's a new poll out, and it's saying that a lot of people had an unhappy Independence Day, specifically Democrats. Only 29% of liberals say they are extremely proud to be American. And 60% of Republicans still claim to be very patriotic. And this is a new Gallup poll data. But it's coming down because even Republicans 20 years ago in the wake of the 9/11 attacks, they said that they were 86% very proud to be Americans. And the last time the majority of Democrats said they were extremely proud of their country was in 2013 during Barack Obama's second term. So this to me says that even the Democrats are not happy with the Biden/Harris administration because that's what we're calling it now. It's not the Biden administration.
Right. It's whoever's holding the strings behind Biden, which definitely isn't Kamala, Vice President Giggles. But I think that more than that, I don't necessarily believe it's just the Biden/Harris/shadow puppets administration that's really bumming Americans out. There is an erosion of common culture. There is very little things there are very few things, that Americans share across the aisle as a common value system anymore. I mean, you look after Pride Month, the holiest month for the left, where you had dudes flashing their genitals like feet away from kids and not like behind any cloth.
And had they not been doing that under the Pride flag, they would have been arrested for indecent exposure.
Well, one would hope. But again, those are cities like Seattle and Los Angeles and New York City where that kind of stuff happens on the day-to-day. And that's a common value now that the left shares on many different factions of the left that the right does not. And you're starting to see in this country a genuine societal fracture where it's coming to the point where individuals will not even do business with people from the opposite aisle if there is any indicator that the person votes the other way. And so when you look at this, are you proud of your country right now? You are seeing a kind of a low point because there is very little that unites the American people anymore. I mean, this is kind of the theory behind why a lot of the neoconservative war hawks, like everyone from Nikki Haley to Lindsey Graham, desperately want a war because theoretically a war is what unites a torn country. Although, all of the dead people really kind of put a damper on that.
Yeah. Well, the poll also says that the share of Americans who see the state of moral values in the U.S. is also decreasing. And you can see how it's trending with age as well. The age of people is another predictor. And I know this may not surprise you. The older you are, the more proud you are to be an American. And you can see the decline as the age dips down. It correlates exactly with people saying that they're not proud to be Americans.
Right. So
the younger they are, the less proud they are.
Yeah, the younger you are, the dumber you are. I mean, that's a thing. And I used to tell my students this as well. Like, boys are stupid until they hit about 25. Girls are crazy until they hit about 22. And that is the God's honest truth. That is the way that biology made you. Guys tend towards insane stupidity. Girls tend toward making crazy decisions. Those are the flaws that we have, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, biology makes that clear. Now, when you put that into perspective, the older you get, you start to master your own issues. Also, you travel trend conservative. The older you get, the more conservative you get, because you know what? You've been around, you know what stuff doesn't satisfy, and you know what things look stupid. And so my wife and I are noticing a lot of our friends who used to be diehard bleeding liberals are actually becoming more friendly with them now, because they've started to realize a lot of that stuff is stupid. It's a waste of time. And, one of my wife's friends even told her that, even though they coming from a very liberal family, when her kids were born, all of that gender kind of nonsense, it stopped. We're not going to be waiting to give our kid a gender, things like that. It changes all of a sudden when you have your own kids and your own responsibilities.
Have you seen this new trend alert? It's called micro weddings or mini monies. And this is because last year, the average wedding in the U.S. cost about $30,000. And that was up $2,000 from the previous year. But now, because of the rampant inflation we've got, the soaring costs, a lot of people are deciding they're passing on the big wedding and they're doing what's called micro weddings, and instead prioritizing money to save for a honeymoon, a vacation, a car, maybe even a down payment on the house.
You mean things that are useful?
Right, rather than a big party.
So
now they're not calling, this is not an elopement, but these micro weddings. It's being defined as less than 50 people are invited.
Okay, well, I'm gonna throw up a little bit of a flag right there, because you don't need to invite less than 50 people to have a micro, inexpensive wedding. I was texting my wife during the last break, so I have the up-to-date figures on this. We spent less than $5,000 on our wedding altogether, and we'll have been married 4 years tomorrow. And
happy anniversary.
Thank you very much. She's a wonderful woman, and I'm a very lucky man. I look at our wedding, and it was fantastic. We held it in Newcastle at the church that I was raised in. We had a beautiful reception in a nice new little place in downtown Newcastle. Had a lot of friends, had a wonderful time. It was a very beautiful wedding. My wife and I are still shocked that so many things went right on that day. I wonder the individuals who spend heaps and heaps and heaps of money on these massive weddings, what do you get from that day other than just a few pictures that would have really been great anywhere? Because the focus is supposed to be the person. I like having a little bit of extra money to spend on the house, the car, things that we use together later on.
Yeah, so many people get caught up in the celebration, the party aspect of it, and not really paying attention to what it means.
Which you can do inexpensively, by the way. Like a really good party doesn't need to break the bank. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, what are you spending, depending on the kind of individual throwing the party, what really needs to be there so that, it's a good party?
Did you have more than 50 people?
I think so. I think we had over 100 people.
Was it a sit down, everybody got something to eat?
Well, at the main part of the wedding, yes. The reception was smaller, but the reception was... I'm probably going to get a text here because she's listening at the moment. I would say around 40 to 70 people at the reception, maybe 80. And we had a wonderful time. We made a lot of our own food because, Baptist and Nazarenes got together and put up quite the potluck. But it was really nice. It wasn't anything over the top, but that's not what everyone's attention was on. No one is licking your flatware to see how expensive it is at a wedding reception.
You were a trendsetter and you didn't even know it. 4 years ago, you had what they would consider a micro wedding.
I know. Isn't it just fantastic to know that I'm leading the youths into the future?
You're so ahead of the curve. It is 9:44. It's the Kendall and Casey Show. That's Tony Kinnett. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, what the affirmative action decision really means, and why is Chris Christie talking about Jared Kushner in the Middle East? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
The share it with a friend deal, even if that friend is yourself. Your McDonald's, your rules.
Treat yourself to tasty deals. Enjoy delicious bundles for $3.29. Try a crispy McChicken with small fries, savory McDouble with small fries, or golden 6-piece McNuggets with small fries. Find your favorite bundle today. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, save on Valspar 5-gallon Ultra Flat Paint. Was $131, now just $123. Plus, MVP's Pro Rewards members earn up to 900 bonus points with the purchase of a Graco Magnum X7 paint sprayer. Lowe's knows pros. Valspar offer valid through 8/2. Selection varies by location. Estimated bonus points valid through 6/30. Actual awarded bonus points calculated on purchase price before taxes and after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms and conditions.
I'd rather be folding laundry.
It's gonna be fun.
Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Bear Traffic.
Backups are already starting.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 9:46. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall is off today, and for the rest of the week, he's on paternity leave. And Tony Kinnett is joining me this morning. So Independence Day yesterday, 4th of July.
Treason's greetings to you, by the way.
Oh, treason's greetings, huh?
It's the reason for the treason.
Very nice. Did you see that the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, he wrote a 4th of July message?
I actually didn't. I didn't read that.
How could you miss that?
I just don't really follow
mailbox.
Zelensky. I kind of saw this segment and I'm like, yeah, I can talk about Ukraine. And I didn't actually read the statement.
Well, he thanked America for both its example of liberty and its support in his country's war against Russia. It was pretty much a happy birthday message. It was in an op-ed column in the Wall Street Journal. He said America's founders upended history when they forged a republic based on individual freedom and political pluralism, pledging to live as free and independent states.
Okay, so first of all, no, we didn't actually, found a nation on political pluralism. Washington was very strict on that. He was like, hey, no political parties, please. So no, but the rest of it I appreciate. I do. Yeah, we're footing the bill for a huge part of your war. I do believe that thanking us, and I like the Wall Street Journal opinion column. I've written for them before. I think their editing team's fantastic. I'm glad that he wrote the letter.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. I mean, he should write the letter. I mean, I personally think that he should definitely be thanking the United States. After all, I've paid for a lot of what they are up to. And this is as someone, by the way, who believes in a Second Amendment right of every citizen to defend their country from invaders, foreign and domestic. That's the idea. I'm glad that he thanked us, as he should.
I don't like that. I don't like the idea that he thinks he knows what it means to be American.
No, I don't think so either. But then again, I'm not necessarily going to, pick apart his. Again, I don't like the political pluralism thing. I think that he's trying to compare Ukraine's struggle to the struggle of the American Revolution, two completely different things. I don't really like comparisons in general when it comes to this, because then you actually start drawing out how alike and similar and different these kinds of things are. Instead of just saying our cause is worthy, we appreciate the United States, a nation which has also always cared about the liberty of their people. Instead of saying, well, remember how there was this thing in 1789? Well, it's actually, if you add those numbers together, you get the number of people killed at this Ukrainian battle. And it's like, you don't have to do that, Zelensky. You don't have to go that far.
You can't compare Zelensky to Washington.
No, and you shouldn't. There's an interesting comment right now that says that like Zelensky is being made a new Winston Churchill or a MacArthur or something like that. And I very much disagree. And the reason is because I don't yet know all of the things about Zelensky to determine whether I think that he's a great individual, an okay individual, or an individual with ulterior motives. I don't know. The fun thing about me not being a foreign policy expert is that I really don't have to weigh in on those decisions, and my colleagues get to argue about it on Twitter.
It just seemed like to me that he's trying to bogart our holiday and trying to tie 4th of July all up intertwined with Ukraine.
And he absolutely
And I didn't
can
like
be.
that at all.
He absolutely can be. I think that's a very valid point. And that's not me just sloughing off the argument either. I think that there's a good point to be made for that. I'm saying that, look, if he's going to write a column and it begins with, thanks America for giving us lots of money and materials, yes, I do think that is what he should have started with.
It should be the biggest thank you card you've ever seen in your life.
It's going to be huge. It's going to cover the entire state of Connecticut, that thank you card.
Okay, so most people know that the average American lives to an age of between 75 and 80 years old. But which is less well known, apparently, is that life expectancy rises with age. So at age 60, an American man can expect to reach age 82 and a woman 85. So according to this data, they're saying your goal is to get to 60. Because if you make it to 60, it's going to extend your life after that.
So there's an interesting biological precept here that I'm going to bore everyone with for a few seconds.
Lay it on me.
I'm going to put it in cool science middle school teacher classroom terms.
Okay.
A lot of people get really stupid before they reach what's called the fourth quartile. And if you have a certain personality, it is more likely that you are going to do something stupid enough to be off of the earth before you reach, in this case, the age of 60. And for a long time, we didn't have to worry about that because, there were a lot of big things in the world that would make sure you didn't make it past age 60. However, now you can live long enough so that if you don't necessarily have the tendency to throw your life away or put yourself in positions in which...
If you're risk adverse?
Yeah. If you're going to risk it, then if you reach 60, it's likely that you'll probably live longer because the odds of you hitting 60 and being like, I need to do something crazy are really low.
That's already passed you by. Well, and we're also in the pharmaceutical golden age right now, where I think even if you did do something when you're younger, the medical community can now help you pass that.
Well, and we're also seeing the age of original vaccination. So I'm not talking about MMR vaccines, but like the original vaccination, polio, obviously things like, not mRNA, not MMR, MMR, measles, mumps, rubella. We're starting to see the very first generations of people who had those kinds of vaccines available to them as children. The original kind of vaccines, the kind that Jonas Salk came up with to defeat smallpox. Those kinds of things are not hurting people's growth from 1 to 20, which is therefore giving them a much longer lifespan. So that's just kind of a cool thing. We're actually starting to see the long-term fruits of some of those medical endeavors from the 1900s.
Well, it also puts people, I think, a little bit more at risk financially because we are living longer and your money's not lasting as long as you originally thought it was going to.
Social Security is an absolute cow.
Yeah.
That's terrible. So is
that's the downside
Medicaid,
of
Medicare.
this. Yeah.
But it's not popular to say that anymore. We could say that 6 years ago and say, maybe it's not great that all of my money is being taken and invested horribly in the Social Security pyramid scheme. And now it's a huge populist message on the right and from a certain red-hatted campaign that says that, no, we need to put more money into Social Security and because old people can't survive without Social Security. And in this economy, I'm wondering just how far that Social Security check goes for other than one loaf of bread and 1 gallon of rotted milk.
It is 9:53. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. That is Tony Kinnett, who is filling in today. Can we talk now about this Mike Pence video?
If we must.
Okay, so this is Kevin, can you go ahead and play it? There's no talking in the video, so we just need a little background music. Oh, yes. Okay, so it's a Mike Pence Thank You Iowa video. And it's shots of him from when he was walking in the parade. Oh yeah.
Oh, that
doesn't that make you
music.
Feel good? He's shaking hands, he's waving. It's shots of him in his red polo. He's got some jeans on. And it simply says, "Thank you, Iowa. Independence Day, Mike Pence." I guess the less he talks, the better the video is.
Talk to your doctor if you qualify for Quivalva. Quivalva is the #1 medication that can prevent bleeding, rectal prolapse, and of course, being a very annoying neighbor. Talk to your doctor about Quivalva today.
To me, this just seemed like a video that my dad would have edited and made of all of our family,
it's got that
family
stock
pictures
music
from like 20 years ago. Yeah.
It's like the 20 best pairs of jeans by Mike Pence, number 19, Ridgeway, Iowa. And it's like Levi Strauss jeans. I don't, again, remember earlier I was saying, I hate the fake politician nonsense. I talked to Brian Griffin. He's the press secretary for DeSantis just, again, over the weekend. I had a chat with him. I can't stand that kind of corporate press garbage. Who are you convincing out there? Who out there is going to be like, oh, hey, there's Mike Pence shaking hands in Iowa. I used to shake hands with people. Like, no one's going to read that and go, oh, I got to vote for this man right now.
I mean, I get the idea. This is it's part of the marketing, expectation, realization, memory. Tell me what you're going to do it. Remind me what you did. So he is doing the remind me of what you did. Here he is walking down the street in Iowa. They're shaking hands and thank you, Iowa. But boy, isn't this guy just betting the farm on Iowa. Like, I'm kind of feeling a little neglected by him as a Hoosier.
He's pulling pretty terribly here.
I know.
And by the way, I'm talking.
Why wouldn't he come and try and change that?
I'm saying this as someone who's
when he was governor.
When I was a friend to the Pences, Mike Pence was my congressman. He was the guy who actually threw me towards West Point. I was his last appointment before he ran for governor. And I like the Pences as people, but this political run is absolutely horrific. I mean, I'm embarrassed to watch this every single day. Yeah, he's sitting in Iowa. So what we're seing right now are the three strategies that Republicans have talked about for the last 8 years. We're seeing strategy number one, in which you kind of follow all of the corporate data inside the GOP. Well, if you just knock on enough doors and you have enough money, everything is fine. That's the Mike Pence strategy.
Mm-hmm.
You have the
Say
Trump,
the right things,
right?
Look the part.
Yeah. Just kind of fake it to you, like just that kind of corporate data. And then you have the Trump idea, which is go around and punch everything and see what sticks. And then you have the DeSantis thing, which is leaning into what the culture says you should lean into. We'll find out which one works.
Well, at 4%, where Mike Pence is polling, that's not working. It is 9:56. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
These are emails filling your employees' inboxes, downloads beaming from device to device, and any one of them could be a cyber attack. Is it possible to keep your small business safe? It is with Comcast Business Security Edge. It helps keep your connected devices protected, and you can monitor threat activity in real time. So this security threat is the last thing you need to worry about. With Comcast Business, advanced security isn't just possible, it's happening.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for $39 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Call or go online today to learn more. Offer ends 7/23/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments. New 100 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. Equipment, installation, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
I put drugs and drinking ahead of my family. I missed important moments. My wife and kids missed me. My addiction controlled my life, and I had a choice to make. I chose a personalized addiction treatment plan from Landmark Recovery, and my family got me back.
Choose life. Choose Landmark Recovery. Visit landmarkrecovery.com to learn more.
Michaelis presents Password. The word is basement.
Wet. Rain.
Leaky.
Faucet.
Stinky.
Socks.
Moldy.
Underwear.
No, it's basement.
Really moldy underwear. Well, sometimes.
Ew. Basement waterproofing and French drains. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Make it Michaelis. Michaelis.
Come on, take your basement back. 844-FIX-INDY.
Coming up in 2 minutes, it's hot now, but the experts say we may change that up soon. Plus, police have released the name of the young girl killed at a block party on Monday. That and more coming up on 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
After fireworks, gunfire. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. People got shot at a block party in Shreveport, Louisiana. 3 died, 6 more were injured.
I am livid as what has happened here. People running for their lives.
Shreveport District Councilwoman Tabitha Taylor, no word how many gunmen might have been involved. There are also no arrests yet in Washington, D.C., where 9 people were shot and wounded early this morning in a drive-by.
It appears that the shooting was targeted towards
those residents and victims that were struck.
D.C. Assistant Police Chief Leslie Parsons, the man accused of going on a random shooting spree in Philadelphia Monday, was just arraigned on murder and other charges via video from jail. Police say Kim Brady Carricker was wearing body armor when he killed 5 people and injured 2 more. The White House says it's evaluating a federal judge's ruling that goes against President Biden on social media.
A federal judge siding with lawyers from GOP states that accuse the government of overreaching in its efforts to stop disinformation surrounding COVID-19. The U.S. District Judge ordering top Biden administration members to not communicate with social media companies when it comes to taking down content that's protected by free speech.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. Now that it's the 5th of July, some Americans who traveled are going back home, but airports are not as busy as Friday when there was a record number of passengers on planes. There are only about 90 flights canceled, about 1,000 delays, way fewer than last week.
On the Friday before the holiday weekend, it's people get off work. It's like you open up the floodgates, but coming back, people have staggered return plans. So we're expecting them to return in hopefully nicely spaced out intervals over the rest of this week.
That's Fox's Jonathan Seri at Atlanta's airport. Earlier reported Monday was the hottest day ever recorded on Earth. Well, it turns out that record was broken yesterday. University of Maine researchers report the global average temperature hit 62.9 degrees. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Another hot one. It's 81 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. It's been hot the last couple of days as you celebrated the 4th, but that will change soon.
We expect a cold front to move towards the area late today into tonight. So we're going to have one more kind of hot, sticky day ahead of that with highs upper 80s to low 90s across the area.
Joe Neild with the National Weather Service says that cold front will also bring some storms with it. Serenity Wilson, that's the name of the teenage girl killed in a shooting at a 4th of July block party on Monday.
It seems as how they were having some kind of block party out here, and fireworks were going off, and then all of a sudden a bunch of people pulled out guns and started shooting.
IMPD Captain Don Weilhammer. 4 others were hurt in that shooting as well. The shooter is still on the loose. 3 people shot early this morning downtown near the canal. All 3 are at hospitals recovering. No arrest made in that shooting either. Improper disposal is what firefighters say caused a house fire in McCordsville for the 4th of July. Harrison Silcox.
Fireworks always make for a good 4th of July, but they're also dangerous, even after you're done using them. A home in McCordsville caught fire Tuesday morning because of firework debris that was improperly thrown away. The fire started in that trash can and spread to the house and even reached a home next door. Firefighters were able to put the fire out at both homes. No injuries were reported. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Fireworks also may have sparked a fire on the 4th of July for an apartment on the north side. That's the sound of firefighters putting it out. That was just off of Keystone Avenue near East 71st Street shortly before midnight. And one southern Indiana town celebrated a special tradition this week. New Pekin's 4th of July parade started 193 years ago, all the way back in 1830. That makes it the longest consecutive Independence Day parade in the country. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Did you know 96% of Americans, 96% forfeit $111,000 in Social Security income? It's true. It's Terry Stacy. Learn how you could avoid this with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, my retirement guy in Indy. My friend Bill knows Social Security like the back of his hand. This free analysis pinpoints exactly when you should file for Social Security while considering your taxes, spousal benefits, and Medicare premiums. If you've saved at least $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-349-5212. Save yourself a ton of time and don't lose one dime in Social Security income. Schedule your free analysis by calling 317-349-5212. 317-349-5212.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 5th. It is 5 minutes after 10. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall is on paternity leave, and filling in, we have Tony Kinnett. You can find him on Twitter at @TheTonus. My name is Casey Daniels. You can find me at Casey Daniels 317. Of course, you can find us both right now on YouTube. Just type in Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar. That's also how you can go back and hear old episodes.
You know,
if you're so
that's
inclined.
actually searched so much on YouTube that it autofills from an incognito mode at this point.
Seriously,
so if you
on
don't
your
have a
computer?
YouTube account, it'll autofill. If you search Kendall, it'll autofill to Kendall and Casey
Perfect.
WIBC.
I like that. Okay, so Donald Trump, he might have revolutionized the small dollar amount structure in his 2016 campaign, right? But now Democrats are dominating this. We're talking about small individual, not the big PACs, not the big donor. We're talking about the small dollar amount person. And Donald Trump was very good at that in 2016. He got a lot of individuals to give a little bit of money, and eventually it all adds up, right?
Mm-hmm.
When now Democrats are stealing that playbook, and they pulled in an estimated $2.5 billion more than the GOP since 2020. Now, this is an NBC News poll. And another thing that they're doing is they have 3 times as many unique donors. So they're saying that once somebody gives once, they're more likely to give again. So the goal here is to get Kevin to donate $5-10 once, because once we get Kevin to donate $5 or $10 one time, he's going to do it over, and it becomes habitual.
I'm going to let you guys in on a little bit of an inside trader secret about kind of the inside political world. The donor structure for nonprofits and also political organizations is not only down to a science, it is downright scary. So when I ran Chalkboard Review, I had to manage development as well, which I hated. And I talked to people from all different kinds of organizations who literally have what you just talked about, getting someone in on a low level, hitting them at the right time with the right kind of very carefully curated media to get them to donate repeatedly. You're starting to see organizations really lean in on the subscription model service. Give this much to us a month. You say, yeah, well, it's only, $2-3 a month, and that adds up, and you end up giving more. And it's a very interesting thing we learned from individuals who tithe at churches. If you give part of your money to a church, you are 57% more likely, according to a Gallup poll in 2009, to actually spend more time at the church. If you give money to something, you are going to be more invested in it, which means more word of mouth, more persuading people to get in on the train. That is how kind of a mass market strategy for donations works. And the Democrats are figuring this out. Here's the problem. You still have a lot of establishment GOP who sit in their little county councils and their GOPs all over the state, meetings of which I have sat in which they say, oh, we got to get a lot of people out this weekend and knock on some doors, and we got to get out there and we got to, drive the Lincoln Day fundraiser dinner. And they aren't doing as much as they used to do. Can they still be effective? Absolutely. But how a campaign raises money is changing drastically.
Yeah.
Drastically. Guess what? The old base that did all the old donor stuff, they're dying. They are.
Well, how are Democrats doing this?
Well, because
they picked up steam quickly on this.
So the cool thing is that why economics tends to drive people out to the polls more in a general election, culture drives people to the polls more in primary and for donations. People are more likely to donate for cultural reasons than they are to donate for economic reasons. By the way, this is why Haley and Pence and a lot of the other Republican candidates are sucking up a storm right now when it comes to donations. They have a few corporate donors, but they don't really have much else. Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis both have some corporate donors. They have some establishment PACs and donors. They have a lot. Both of them have a heaping ton of money between the two campaigns. And they're actually they're sliding past one another very regularly in how much money they've raised, because DeSantis gets out there and he says, you know what? Naked men shouldn't be in front of your kids. And the average Republican goes, I'll donate to that. And then Trump gets out there and says, they're coming after me. They're going to throw me in prison. I'm the only thing in the way between them and you. And someone's like, yeah, that's true. I'm going to donate to that. Culture drives donations. It is the new model that is successful. So when the Democrats do the same thing, when they get out there and they fearmonger with, they're taking away your rights, they're going to lock all the women up in prison as baby machines, they scare a lot of suburban women, which is, if you look at this NBC poll, that's where the biggest donor drive is coming from, is suburban women and younger women in the 18 to 24 demo.
What would drive someone to donate even a small amount to somebody like Pence or Christie or Nikki Haley or Vivek?
From what age range?
Oh, okay.
Because it changes. Vivek is likely going to be a culture war point, and it's likely going to be kind of a younger neocon who thinks that diversity matters in a race.
But if you're aware at all, you know that they're not polling high. So isn't that let me just throw my money in the fireplace?
So that is kind of the interesting thing here, is that we're actually starting to see kind of a national media scale of donations, kind of like the stock market, where public opinion tends to change what donations an individual receives. So in the 1980s and the 1990s, it was more likely that campaigns would receive more donations regardless of polls as time went on, whereas now we start to see kind of the way that primary votes go. Whoever's getting the most attention is going to get the most money. By the way, that's the Matthew principle. To whom everything is given, more will, or to whom everything someone has, more will be given. To whom have nothing, everything will be taken away. And that's really what we're seeing. It's the most free market principle played out when you connect everything via the internet.
Okay, so the Federal Elections Commission says that Democrats Act Blue pulled in $6.5 billion between 2020 and 22, and Republicans, the Win Red, they only did $4 billion in the same time frame. So $2.5 billion more dollars. That's a lot of money, and that can make a big difference in a lot of different elections.
It absolutely does. It is still the main idea is that money does almost more than anything to drive the likelihood of an election outcome. Now, are there upsets? Absolutely. Do things change? Absolutely. However, money is still the driving factor, especially when it comes to advertisement and name recognition. So the problem with the GOP has right now is that they cannot unify around like a singular donation strategy because the GOP has no central identity right now. There's nothing in common between Governor Holcomb and Governor DeSantis. There was nothing in common.
Boy, you said a mouthful there.
Really, though. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Depending on the district you're in, GOP can mean something wildly different. And this is the negative part of connecting everyone within a few moments for each other. The California GOP and, let's say, the Delaware GOP are very different from the Indiana GOP. The Indiana GOP doesn't get out and fight. They don't have to. The California GOP and the Delaware GOP, they will fight tooth and nail. And you see this in purple states. Forget about it. The GOPs in purple states are such powerhouses compared to everything. I mean, you're talking about staffing, campaign funds, allocation, market research, Oppo research, all the things that go into a political group. Laws passed. Purple states have better law passed percentages when they're in power than Republican states do, like strongholds like Indiana. This is why everyone's mad at Indiana right now. The reason that the Indiana GOP doesn't care about property taxes or the gas tax, because they don't have to.
They don't need to.
What are you going to do, like vote them out? They pick 90% of who goes into the primaries, and then they throw hissy fits whenever you try to tell them to get involved, like Mario Maslamany and Hamilton County. The current mayoral candidate for Carmel, Sue whatever her name is a train wreck. That could have been prevented, but the Hamilton County GOP largely sat on their hands. Well, there you go. I mean, that's Indiana for you. Complacency has consequences.
Okay, so Ron DeSantis, he was in New Hampshire over the weekend. It rained, but he carried on. He was out there with Casey DeSantis, and I believe one of the children were there. Mike Pence, of course, was in Iowa, right?
Of course, yeah.
Donald Trump, he was at home at his New Jersey golf course. Okay, so they fanned out across the country, right? Trying to get some votes. They were all marching in the parades except for Trump. He stayed at his Bedminster resort. And Pence, he's like really counting on Iowa's evangelical Christian conservative GOP caucus.
Which is funny because I know a lot of the evangelical Christian caucus out in Iowa because they were not in Iowa up until that point over the last week. They were actually in Philadelphia at the Moms for Liberty conference. I had the distinct pleasure of watching Nikki Haley, Donald Trump, and DeSantis from 20 feet away. I was at the frontmost table. I was taking a lot of shots, writing a lot of stories. And what I saw were candidates desperately trying to take what has become the new juggernaut of the evangelicals. Evangelicals are no longer like a vague voting bloc. They are now starting to file into very specific camps. And the parental rights camp is the largest of those camps. It is the reason education is one of the top 10 issues, whereas before it was about 19 or 20 in the country. Now, candidates like Donald Trump and candidates like even down to Nikki Haley, who you can always tell where the political weather vane is blowing because that's what she's saying that day. Her last comment was, if you guys are the standard for domestic terrorism, then I'm a mom for liberty. And I was like, oh my God. Just
reading off the cue cards.
Right. I mean, it was a very calculated political statement. And Mike Pence has no idea. He has no idea that that's where he should have been this weekend. So genuinely, if you really want to win the evangelical votes, you have to get on the parents' rights train.
Yeah.
You do. That's where it is. It's nowhere else right now. Evangelicals right now care about pro-life issues, and they care about the LGBTQ nightmare. Those are the two cultural issues that bother them. The rest of the stuff is economic. It depends on what part of the country and if you want to tie the border into the top 3.
So even though he has a very, very narrow lane that he is trying to drive that car down, he's not even on the right street, is what you're saying. I mean, like, he's spending all of this time in Iowa thinking that that's going to do it for him.
This is what happens when you hire political science majors right out of college to be your staffers. I don't have a political science major. I don't. I spent my time on the ground working in Indiana. I didn't spend my time sucking up to people that went to Ivy League schools. So shocker, I happen to know where things are going a lot better than the goobers that Mike Pence hired from insert college name here.
Okay, I don't know if you've heard about this gambling website. So this is, where's this from? It's in New Zealand. This thing started in 2014. It started out as a research project. But in New Zealand, they're allowing gamblers to bet on the outcome of elections and other political events. Like
cool.
Real money, put real money down.
Cool.
And the 24 U.S. presidential race is really hot on this gambling. It's called Predict It.
Which is amazing because genuinely 2 or 3 of the leading candidates could be like dead from natural causes by the time the election rolls around.
Well, that's true. But here's the deal. DeSantis's numbers are dropping 3 cents. On the gambling app. You know who's picked up a penny? Somebody who's not even running yet.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom.
Right. There's no reason for him to run until Joe Biden drops dead. I am of the firm opinion, and I'm not. Believe me, if it went my way, I would have not had Joe Biden run. I would have had him retire alone because he's clearly elderly and is currently going through elder abuse. Despite the fact that I don't like him, I think he's a terrible person. What is happening right now, his wife is a horrible woman because she's like keeping him propped up like a ventriloquist puppet in office. I do not think he makes it to 2024.
Is it her that's doing it, or is it the Democrat Party?
Well, I'm saying that at this point, it is we're currently getting a front row seat to how good the best money in medicine in the United States can do to keep an individual alive.
The pharmaceutical golden age. We talked about that.
Between George Soros and President Biden, we are seeing the best efforts to keep them alive as long as possible. And what we're seeing here is that it's starting to fail miserably. President Biden has recently started CPAP, which is a very bad sign at his age for someone to start CPAP at that age. You've seen the lines. And I don't think he makes it. The moment that he doesn't make it, and God forbid that kind of situation comes forward, not wishing death on anybody, I do see Gavin Newsom stepping up and being a very popular candidate for the radical progressives. As for the independents in this country, no way.
It's 18 minutes after 10. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Life's certainties. Taxes.
We'll take that. And that's all I had left.
Death. And Indianapolis traffic.
Hey, hon, where are you? Now, sitting on the northeast side, I'm never coming home.
Do less sitting.
I hate traffic.
And do more living.
A long-term ramp closure.
Matt Bear Traffic.
Eastbound 465. Ramp will be closed through 2024.
Mornings and afternoons.
Lane restrictions on the northeast side.
On 93 WIBC.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated.
That used to be me. Then I got this.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right?
Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Get $2 off at alignprobiotics.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's like a jackal from hell.
And Casey Daniels.
Oh, hot. Want to touch the hiney.
93 WIBC.
19 minutes after 10 is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall on paternity leave, and filling in, we have Tony Kinnett joining us today. Super smart Tony Kinnett. You can find him on Twitter at The Tonus. Okay, so United Airlines, they distributed 30,000 miles to travelers whose flights were canceled or delayed due to bad weather, the air traffic, the gridlock. You just flew recently. How was it? Was it fun?
I fly American Airlines, and it's actually not terrible. I find going places that it's packed, and then coming back to Indianapolis, the plane's empty. which a lot of people would say that's a bad sign. I think it's awesome because then I can scoot to the front of the plane for less money.
All right. Okay, so you're flying American out of Indy. Do you have a connector for that? To go to D.C.?
No, normally I don't. I can, but I try to plan enough in advance that I don't have to go to Charlotte first, which everyone else loves Charlotte. I hate Charlotte Airport.
I was just talking about that last night with the dude. I was like, okay, so if you're going to fly from Indy to D.C., you probably got to connect in Charlotte or Atlanta.
It's not Charlotte Douglas. It's Charlotte DeLagos. It's horrible.
It just seems so crazy. But I guess I get it that they're trying to appease their customers. They're trying to give them these, the miles that they can turn in. But do you really want more miles from a company that just left you in the proverbial wind?
I'm going to be honest here. I say that, let's say that you're hired to a company and you're hired. Let's say you or I were hired to Anheuser-Busch tomorrow and you and I were put in charge of their marketing team. What would you do? The very first thing I would do is, first of all, I would issue an apology for the garbage that I did. I would own it directly.
3-step process.
Number 2.
Admit mistake, apologize, take corrective action.
Corrective action. Immediately, I would start doing everything I could to get that customer base back. I don't see a problem with United doing this. Good for them. Now, I hope that they're real miles because, again, like my American Airlines reward miles aren't actually miles I can fly on a plane.
Are they all blackout dates? Like you can use them except for this date, this day, this day, this day, and this day.
I haven't actually looked at it that much. My wife might be joining me for a conference here pretty soon. So we're going to find out just how that process
good
applies.
Those miles are.
Yeah, we'll find out. But if United is actually applying real honest-to-God miles, trips, and experiences for customers they want back, yeah, that's what you do. You make amends. And hopefully, God willing, United is actually going to do something to be a better airline. And I want that, by the way, because I want competition between airlines to make the others better. That's what I'm hoping for. Whether I get it's another thing entirely.
Okay, so Hillary Clinton was talking the other day, and I wanted to play this audio because she says that if Trump were to win, it would be the end of democracy.
What would happen if Trump won, first of all, in Ukraine? What would happen to the Ukraine situation?
Look, if Trump wins, which I do not believe will happen, let me just quickly say that. If in some scenario that were to happen, it would be the end of democracy in the United States. It would be the end of Ukraine. It would become he will pull us out of NATO if he wins again. Just like he pulled us out of the Iran deal, he pulled us out of the Paris Accords, he will pull us out of NATO.
Again, they're trying to connect the United States and Ukraine
as
one big happy country, although we're not. And she's doing this on 4th of July, which I thought was really interesting. Like she's got nothing better to do.
Well, I mean, of course she has nothing better to do. I mean, she's some kind of associate professor ad nauseum or whatever. The funny thing about Hillary Clinton here is that whenever she says something isn't going to happen, it's going to happen. So congratulations to former President Donald John Trump for winning the 2024 presidential election. Right. Because again, the last time Hillary Clinton's like, Donald Trump will never be president, the dude was sworn in like weeks later. So that stuff said, no, it's not the end of democracy, but we've heard this before, haven't we? How many times have we heard that if a Republican wins, it's the end of democracy? If we do this, that, if net neutrality doesn't pass, it's going to be the end of the internet. If we don't do this, there's going to be murder hornets swimming across the seas. If we don't wear masks, the entire country is going to put its feet up through the daisies.
If you don't get vaccinated, you're going to kill grandma.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, there were teachers that I worked with at Knightstown whose school board members were saying that stuff about them. And again, at this point, what's the impact of that statement? Like, who's actually listening to Hillary Clinton? Oh, Hillary Clinton said it. Now it's real.
I was thinking about voting for Trump, but Hillary said it'll be the end of democracy. So I'm going to change my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I was waiting for her to chime in.
And how much influence does she have anymore? Any?
Well, I mean, she's the Democrats' Trump. She just is. So there's a base of suburban women who are always going to listen to what Hillary Clinton says. But past that,
still, you think so?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I mean, again, I see this from my Indianapolis trolls all the time. When you see Mary Jensen or Rhonda Eldridge get on Twitter and start spamming a bunch of angry comments, you can, be rest assured that they've probably simped after Hillary Clinton in the last few days. That's how we run around here.
Well, last week, the Supreme Court, they knocked down the Biden student loan transfer. Okay. So this rep from California, she was asked if Biden gave Americans false hope on the campaign trail about student debt relief. And here's what she had to say.
I believe he did what the public needed. The public was calling for student debt relief. And we heard this over and over again. And we saw that with the moratorium on payments there was tremendous relief among students, and it was for the last few years during COVID. So I think it was a natural outgrowth of that to have a student debt relief.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You've got people like Nancy Pelosi even saying that Biden can't do this. So, yeah, it sounds to me like it was a bit of a false promise that he even knew he wasn't going to be able to do.
I mean, that's campaign promises, though, by the way. I mean, everyone does this, though. So I like that everyone's kind of dunking on Biden for this. And this is a moment when I'll kind of slap back at the right a little bit, because the right does this, too. We do. Biden campaigned on something that he knew everyone would get excited about, which was student loans. It tricked a lot of Gen Z and late-term millennials, like yours truly, into voting for President Biden. Thank God I did not vote for that, horrible train wreck of an individual. I will point out, though, that over the weekend, I did hear President Trump promising a lot of things to the Moms for Liberty crowd, including that he would make it so that principals were directly elected by parents at their schools, which is not something that he could do even if he had ultimate executive order. There's no way that you can promise that, but politicians have been promising things like that to their people for ages.
Well, Trump promised he was going to build a wall. Didn't finish it.
I mean, he promised he was going to drain the swamp. He didn't do it. And the arguments can be say that he made it worse. But again, every single political candidate, I don't hold those things against Trump as much. Like I really don't hold the student debt thing against Biden. Who I do hold accountable for that is the idiots who voted him in. If you're stupid enough to believe that a politician is going to wave a magic wand and fix things for you, you don't deserve the vote. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
Okay, you wanted to talk about this article. So the Supreme Court, they've been on a roll, right? Striking down affirmative action, also the student loan transfer that we were just talking about. But this goober with his op-ed, he's really mad. He was saying, so an elected and Democratic-controlled Congress can write and pass a progressive law, but an unelected and very conservative Supreme Court can just rewrite it. These are neutral judges. These are politicians in robes.
Okay, so the two things here that need to be made very, very clear. The Supreme Court is a check on the presidential and congressional authority. That's all it is. And by the way, when you have conservative Congresses, the Supreme Court has often ruled against them. There have been a lot of cases, in fact, in which the Supreme Court has ruled in 9-0 rulings this term. And as well the last term. It's very rare for things to kind of come down on party lines, but it is almost always a check on unconstitutional behavior. And to pretend that the Supreme Court is super evil just because you don't like them, you didn't pay attention in civics class. Courts are a check against legislative overreach. Do they always do things perfectly? Absolutely not. Is our court system perfect? Heck no, it's not perfect at all. I mean, you've got, Ketanji Brown Jackson getting up there and saying lived experiences in her interpretation of the Constitution. Lived experiences has nothing to do with legal proceedings or writing or the ruling of law in any way, shape, or form, yet she's doing it. They're politicians in robes. Yeah, they're government officials. Every person is political. This is the silliest thing I've ever heard. Everyone on this planet has a bias. And that bias is exacted every single time you do anything. There's no such thing as impartiality. You're a flawed human. That is what you are. You are partial. And so for someone to get up and say, well, hey, they're biased. Yeah. I would be really concerned if they weren't. I'm very unbiased. Okay, what are you hiding?
That's why they're there, because they do have an opinion.
Yeah, and the opinion just happens to be one that understands and interprets the Constitution in a way that the ruling power put them into place to be a check for.
That's Tony Kinnett. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Rizza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new place. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A targeted shooting. It's 82 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. A mass shooting in our nation's capital. Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
Hours after the fireworks ended in Washington, a drive-by shooting left 9 people, including a 9 and 17-year-old, injured in a D.C. neighborhood. Metropolitan Police Department Assistant Chief Leslie Parsons says the shooting is believed to be targeted. The shooting happened around 1 a.m., and all of the victims are being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
And police are looking for pranksters who played a forgotten baby stunt on mall shoppers in New Jersey. It involved what looked like a baby and an infant carrier left on the roof of a car as a driver drove away from a mall. Well, panicked shoppers flooded 911 calls on Monday about a Tesla driving around with a baby stranded on the roof, not knowing that it was a doll. Well, police say the idea was to capture shocked reaction and post it on YouTube. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's the season for swimsuits, barbecues, and of course fireworks. Doctors with the Richard M. Fairbanks Burn Center at Eskenazi Health encourage everyone to celebrate safely this July 4th holiday. Over the past several years, there's been an increase in the number of people injured during the July 4th holiday season due to improper handling of fireworks. The Richard M. Fairbanks Burn Center at Eskenazi Health wants to remind you of these important fireworks safety tips. First, if you choose to use fireworks, always light them outside, safely away from pets and other people. Next, keep a bucket of water, hose, or fire extinguisher nearby in case of accidents. Third, always soak both used and unused fireworks in water for a few hours after use. Finally, never pick up or try to relight fireworks that have not fully ignited. Let them sit 5 to 10 minutes before putting them in a bucket of water. For more information, go to eskenazihealth.edu. Click on Health Services, then Burn Center. Have a safe and wonderful July 4th holiday from Eskenazi Health.
Let us send you your home's value today. Go to HoosierHomeValues2023.com. From Crossroads Collective, title sponsor of the First Day, Sundays 11 to 1.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance.
If you don't live near a Low T Center or just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started on treatments. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Gilbert worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time for a change.
I recognized where I was at was vulnerable to the whims of the economy.
Then he heard about My Computer Career. Gilbert went for it.
In as little as 7 months, I got all of my certifications at a fraction of a cost for college.
He became an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I can work from anywhere. I have more time for my family as well.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
I'm so sorry you have just reached my answering machine.
317-684-8444. That is the phone number for your voicemails. If you'd like to contribute questions, comments, smart remarks, or whatever else is on your mind. That mailbox was full today.
Yes, it was.
I got to spend some more time in there and get some more. Go through more of them because I didn't give myself enough time to get. It was like 80% full.
And then
it
actually told you, it actually gave you recommended actions. Like, you need to delete messages now.
You need to go through this. All right already. I had the day off yesterday. I love it. I go to get the voicemails and I get yelled at. Okay, so we do have some calls to get through. And this first one, I believe somebody is talking about Mike Pence.
But it's just nonsense, you know. And then Biden keeps pushing more money, and then you got some other people. Even Pence, you know, it was talking about giving more money or whatever and supporting all that. I mean, he didn't do what he was supposed to do when he was here as a governor, you know, and I'm still not happy with him for that, you know. And Now he's wasting people's donations because he's not going to win, So he's just wasting people's money. And I wish people wouldn't give to people like him or Christie or whatever.
Okay, so he was talking about Ukraine.
Right.
First of all, how we just spent another $500 million over there. And then he switched to even how Mike Pence is on the military-industrial complex train. And he's saying he wishes people weren't donating to Mike Pence's campaign because he's not going to win. So it's a waste of money.
So this is a really interesting thing that I've had a lot of conversations with more neoconservatives who are in support of our giving a lot of money and time to the war in Ukraine. And this is the question that I have for them. So do you believe that Russia is a threat in and of itself to the United States? Because if you do, then I would question you're actually taking a look at what they can and cannot effectively do as far as harm to the United States. If you're saying that any country that is a nuclear power, because that's the only thing that they respond with, they say, well, Russia's a nuclear power. If they take Ukraine, they can do things with nuclear missiles. Okay, are we going to treat every single nuclear power on Earth as though every time they get in a foreign conflict, we personally have to foot the bill rebuffing that? Because number one, that's not tenable. Number two, we're not getting anything out of it. When we went to wars with other countries in the 19th century, we kind of dictated how things went in that country later on. We're not getting a part of Ukraine for the American empire. We're not. So what stake do I have? If it's just fighting for other people's freedom, for some Americans, that's not enough.
That's not enough.
That's not. They have to feed their families.
Well, but exactly. And you're being told, well, you're fighting for democracy then. We're sending your money there so that they can have democracy.
So then,
but when in fact they are not having democracy.
But the response that also counters that very well is, so that every dollar is accountable then, yeah? So then I should be able to see where the dollars go. If I'm giving to a church, let's say for a missionary, and I believe in what that missionary is doing, I want that missionary to tell me exactly how that money is being spent so I can determine if it is being spent well. The same if I donate to a school or I donate to any action or cause that I believe in. I want to know that my money went somewhere good. It wasn't a waste. Mm-hmm. And literally, we're just losing money into Ukraine. And all of the Republicans that support Ukraine can't answer that.
Well, you got a big thank you note from Zelensky. You got to thank you, America.
And it bothers me to no end when people say, well, Republicans, that means you're actually for Russia. And a lot of Republicans do fall into the trap of supporting Russia. No, you can just not be a fan of the whole thing, and especially not the way that our betters have chosen to spend our money regarding it.
Just because you're not a fan of a proxy war doesn't mean that you're pro-Putin.
And Pence thinking that's where the support is laughable. It's an embarrassment. It really is.
Okay, we've got another phone call. Somebody calling about the dude.
Hi, Casey. Really, it has nothing to do with the topics of the show, but I just wanted to call in because the last couple of days have really been nice. It's been great. You two are the perfect couple. I just knew it. You both give 100%. You just make people feel good. The way you guys talked on the radio, best friends, and even like you just met. I just love it. I know a lot of my friends who loved it. And Rob's going to be too busy anyway from now on. So if you wanted to run for governor, I guarantee you would have a lot of votes. But you guys made a lot of people feel good the past couple of days. I just wanted you to know that. And we've been listening for years. You guys have a great day, and congratulations, Rob.
Yeah.
We love you.
Oh, that was a nice phone call. Okay, so I think what she's referencing is the dude was filling in for a couple days last week. He's going to be back tomorrow, by the way.
Excellent.
We talked him into one more day working for free, which I know he loves. But she said I should run for governor.
Hey, that's an endorsement.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, what? You don't?
That's not going to happen.
You don't want to go to 800 Lincoln Day dinners in counties that you've never heard of and tell people that you really care about what they're going through and them not believe you? What's not to love about that?
Could you imagine me and then Micah Beckwith as lieutenant governor?
I can imagine the crying in the streets. That would be fantastic.
All right, but that was a nice phone call. Okay, somebody called talking about the devaluation of the dollar.
Casey, devaluing the U.S. currency, our dollar, is only done by one entity, and that is the federal government. But when it comes to the people, it's called inflation, but it's really devaluing the dollar is what happened by the U.S. government. And it happens when they print too much money, not money, but too much paper, and call it it would be like a farmer who has 1,000 gallons of milk but wants to have an extra 500 gallons of milk, making 1,500 gallons of milk. So he would dump in 500 gallons of water, and that way he would have more of what he called milk, but it lowers the quality of the milk by 50%. And that's what we call inflation. And he would say he's inflated the milk, but he's devalued the milk.
So it's also how you make your shampoo last a little longer. Just add some water to it.
That is true. I am going to put a little bit of an asterisk because so first of all, he said that the Federal Reserve is the only group that controls inflation. That is not true at all. The cost of the amount of worth that the U.S. dollar has is based on three things. It is based on how many dollars we have. That covers how much labor and products the United States produce and how we trade with it, as well as the contingency of our national debt in relation to what other countries hold us as a reserve currency status, coupled with last but not least, but yet very, very, very important, how fluid the United States promissory is. So like through our gross domestic product. That means this: the United States has a finite amount of money that represents all of the goods and the land that we have. The goods, the land, and the labor, I guess, if you want to include that in, because the Deutsche Bank views the U.S. labor as a hold on the dollar. Once those things mess up, say like through a lockdown, the value of the U.S. dollar decreases because there is less labor going on to work for that dollar. So as far as the United States only really having the Federal Reserve controlling the worth of the U.S. dollar, that's not necessarily true. Now, he's right. The Federal Reserve screwed it up by printing around the clock. Here's why printing money around the clock doesn't work. It's not, I don't really like the milk example because I think it can be a lot easier explained in regards to pizza. The U.S. dollar amount, aka how our entire economy sits, is a big, huge pizza. Now, you can slice that pizza as many times as you want into as many slices as you want. That will not give you more pizza. Every time the U.S. prints money, it slices the pizza into more slices and then hands you those slices and tells you, hey, you have more slices of pizza, therefore you have more pizza. But you don't.
It's the same size
doesn't.
pie.
If I cut a slice of pizza in half, I have the same amount of pizza, but fewer slices. And that's what the Federal Reserve does. And by the way, the debt is how fast we are eating the pizza. And then the gross national product is how fast we are making new pizza.
Yeah.
So that entire balancing act between those three groups, the Federal Reserve doing the cutting, us and other governments doing the eating, and then how fast you, me, and the average industrial worker is doing the making, that's the U.S. dollar.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of pizza, how about the ketchup conversation? Heinz came out and said that you're supposed to put your ketchup in the refrigerator. It's been a big debate where you keep your ketchup, and somebody called with a comment about that.
Hi there. I just had a thought about your ketchup situation. Refrigerator or out in the restaurants, leave it out all the time. But the difference in the refrigerated, our ketchup, we don't use it all day long. Restaurants use it all day long. So they don't have a chance for it to go rot. I like your station. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Okay. So there's some restaurants that keep the ketchup out on the table.
Yep, which is totally fine.
And she's saying that they go through it so quickly that it's not going to go bad.
That's not why. So the problem is that, I mean, it's a good idea. It's got a lot of merit to it. But the problem is that people aren't really figuring out here is that ketchup should be stored in the refrigerator, sure. However, ketchup is not going to be bad if you leave it out for a week. And there's a reason why. Ketchup has two great parts to it. It has sugar, which is the problem with the rotting, and vinegar. Vinegar keeps things from rotting. Vinegar is a preservative as much as it is an acid. And so bacteria does not easily form in a sealed container of ketchup when vinegar is the number one substance in there. Now, the less you have in the bottle, that means the more air you have, the more things that are in the air can react with the sugar to spoil it. But you can leave ketchup out longer than other foods because it has a lot of vinegar. Just like in the same way, if you put lemon juice on apple slices, it will keep them from browning.
Exactly. Boy, you really are the science teacher, aren't you? Does that make you feel better, Kevin, knowing that you keep your ketchup in the pantry and it's okay? It's going to last longer because now you know it's the vinegar.
Yeah, I never really had any doubts about it because, it's never gone bad, but that makes a lot of sense. That's the vinegar preserving it.
If you just drink vinegar every day, then you'll hate your life. That's another fun fact.
You'll hate your life. That's scientific. That's proven. Okay, Kevin, let's do the one last phone call, the 10 o'clock one.
Hi, Casey. I just heard your comment of it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Hey, seriously, that needs to be done more now than ever before.
Okay, so we were talking last week. It was an article that had to do with Gen Zs, but we had commented they used to air a commercial at 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
You're probably too young. Do you remember that?
I know this commercial.
It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? And they would line up all sorts of stars to come in, and it was like a PSA that would, celebrities would say it. And so he's saying we need that now.
Is your kid too stupid to come in when the street lights come on? That's why we're having this commercial.
Do you care? It's more like,
about the children?
Do you know where your kids are?
So,
do you know where they were last night?
The modern version of that commercial should be, it is now 10 o'clock. Do you know what your kids are browsing on their phones you gave them for no reason?
Yeah, good one. It's 10 o'clock.
Really?
Do you know what they're looking at as they hole up in their bedroom?
Because exactly. Why your kid has a device and you're a tablet mom. I'm sure that the YouTube Kids playlist is safe.
Sure.
Nope.
Not so much?
Not at all.
Okay, we've got, I think Hammer's going to join us. Is he here today? I think he's here today. We'll check and make sure.
I'm going to have to do my Hammer impression, aren't I?
It's 10:46. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. That's Tony Kinnett filling in. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel Show. Back at it Wednesday, 3 o'clock. Biggest stories in Indy. And we'll have a good time. 93 WIBC.
Get ready to save with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet delivering fast and reliable speeds for $49.99 a month. Free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security. And a free Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Go to spectrum.com/save more and use the Spectrum One savings calculator to see how much you can save today.
Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
By listening to WIBC, you'll learn how to create a secure income plan that is sustainable throughout retirement from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. Tune into WIBC this Sunday from 9 to 10 p.m.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 10:47. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall still out on paternity leave. Tony Kinnett is filling in today. And joining us in the studio, the number one rated Jason Hammer from the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Thank you.
So I'm glad to see you in one piece.
All my fingers are intact.
Yeah.
Toes still there. Crank still in place. It was a successful night of fireworks at the Hammer House last night, Casey.
All right, how'd it go? Because I'm telling you what, I felt like I was in a war zone last night. I live in the city, and we play gunshot or firework all the time.
Right.
But last
Not
night,
just in July.
Not just in July. That's all the time. But last night, smoke everywhere. The bombs were bursting in air, and I'm pretty sure I heard somebody empty a few magazines last night.
Yeah, that's freedom. That's what that is right there,
That's
Casey.
right.
That's what that is.
Yes.
And as you know, I am a fireworks aficionado. I love the bombs bursting in air, the ramparts, red glare. I love all of it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And I really hope, and I'm not just saying this for effect, I really, really hope my fireworks woke up Rob's baby. I hope they heard my fireworks in Brownsburg, and I hope sweet baby Olivia was just being laid down, and then the sounds of freedom woke her up time after time again.
Okay.
Just because Rob put out that video giving everybody a lecture about fireworks.
You know what? Hey, Kevin, we've got that. I don't know if you remember where that's at. It was down in the extras, but I wanted to play that because I wanted to have the conversation. But while Kevin, you've got it? Okay, so this is what Hammer's talking about. Here's Rob Kendall.
Look, I don't know who needs to hear this, but the 3rd of July is not the 4th of July, and fireworks are for the 4th of July.
Doesn't even know he's causing controversy. He's not even here.
You know what? nobody wants a lecture from new dad. New dad needs to sit the conversations out, right? You don't get to give a lecture to the seasoned, grizzled veterans like I am.
Do you think that he was just, because he was trying to have the baby sleep?
Well, if you listen to the video, the tone of the video, now we're going to break this down like it's the Zapruder film.
Okay.
Here.
Let's do it here.
But listen to this again. Kevin, go ahead.
Look, I don't know who needs to hear this.
Listen how soft his voice is.
But the 3rd of July is not the 4th of July. And fireworks are for the 4th of July.
And if you watch the video...
He's in the dark.
He's in the dark.
Yeah.
It's really close to his face. So that tells me...
There's a baby on that lap.
There's a baby somewhere. And you don't get to give other dads a lecture when you haven't even been a dad for 2 weeks yet.
Also, if you pay attention to the way that the voice lilts, it's that very early morning, like, hey, guys, I'm really tired, but we're going to be unboxing a new video today on YouTube. It's that kind of that kind of commentary that he's provided. And he just sounds done. Like he's just heard a firework right next to his window. Now, was it me next to his window?
He lives next to his dad, so it's his dad that's keeping him up.
That's really funny.
That's the
That's
issue.
really funny. So he's bringing his family issues online. Come on, Kendall.
My reminder to everybody in the listening audience here is if you could please keep your dogs and babies quiet today. Some of us have been up all night shooting fireworks. So I'm dragging a little bit. I'm a little tired. So if you could please keep your dogs and babies quiet. Some of us we're struggling today.
I just want to point out, this is why they made Roman candles. So if someone is being too obnoxious, just fire a couple of Roman candles at them. And then that takes care of it. I mean, is this not the American ideals? I mean, if you're too poor for Roman candles, bottle rockets.
Do they still have that sign at the airport that says you're not allowed to bring fireworks on the plane? So we talked about this on July 3rd when we worked last time. And I think there's a comedian, I can't remember who it was. I think it's Nick Swartzen, who does a great bit of, there's a reason that sign exists. Did somebody bring a Roman candle on board of an American Airlines flight or something?
Somebody did it at one point. So what do you think? July 3rd fireworks, I think they're okay.
Yes.
I don't know
some
what his
communities do their fireworks. Like Beech Grove's big night of fireworks is July 3rd. Everybody goes to the park. It's some phenomenal people watching, and that's their night. So, again, quiet, in the dark, very melancholy new dad. Sit this conversation out. Because you know what you're making me want to do? Tailgate in front of your house next year, and I'm bringing all the good stuff. The artillery shells, the M80s, all the illegal stuff.
Okay, so I'm what you said. You said the good stuff, and I know you said you do it up on 4th of July. You really like to have a good time. What do you do? Are you doing all of it? The big, bursting flowers in the air? You doing the bottle rockets, the Roman candles?
No.
You just doing the snap
We're well
pops?
past the bottle rocket stage at the Hammer House,
Okay.
Casey. We're talking about
what's the
commercial
scene?
grade, citywide extravaganza fireworks, where I probably spend way too much money on, but there's also a choreographed show that I do that goes along with it.
You time it out to music?
And I bring my DJ gear out because
Let's go.
And I've got the soundtrack lined up. We've got James Brown's Living in America. We've got, Neil Diamond. We've got the whole shebang, and it's awesome. And the kids all bring their friends over, and all of them still have their fingers, which is a win. So I feel pretty good. I feel like, as a dad, when all the kids can go home without missing a body part, I've had a good night.
You put on a good show.
That's
Are you charging admission for the Hammer show?
No.
You pull out the
Fireworks
iPad
show.
and have them tip you after done. Like, thanks for coming. Here you can just tip 15, 20, 75%.
Shake a tip jar at them like the bums do here in Monument Circle.
Absolutely.
By the way, on the subject of that, I saw Abdul post something about this the other day, and I can back this up. I will fact check it. It's true. So on July 3rd, I was here. Abdul was here. We were like the only people working in the building.
Yeah.
So I walk over to Potbelly. Our radio station building's right here on Monument Circle. Potbelly is about half of a quadrant away.
God bless that Potbelly. I love
so
that one
good.
It's the only
so
thing
much.
open on the Circle now.
Right around the corner is the comic book store. So Abdul walked to the comic book store. I walked to Potbelly at different times. He said, I saw 7 different homeless people just laying in the street. To which I was telling Guy Relford and Chris Hammer, because they were filling in with me that day too. I was like, I just saw 6 of them. And when I say laying in the street, I mean, it looked like Jonestown. I mean, they're just sprawled out across the sidewalk. You have to walk around the bodies.
Governor Holcomb said we have more monuments than anyone else other than Washington, D.C. So how about that?
And I saw homeless people peeing on said monuments before. So congratulations. But yeah, it's getting bad. And now they've blocked this part of the circle off because this is the gun-free zone area.
It's going to be the green area too, right?
I'm sorry. I think you said gun-free zone because that's really what Hogsett wants. And it's blocked off now, and it's such a pain in the ass if you're trying to get out of downtown, having part of the circle blocked off, because it's a great way to navigate to get to the highway wherever you want to go.
I think it might have been San Diego, San Francisco, I can't remember, one of the S cities in California, but they're making a safe tent city now.
Oh.
So you can put up your tent. That's okay for the homeless, but they're making sure that it's now a safe tent city.
Are the safe smoking kits there with them? The government-funded crack pipes, are they going to be passed out with these safe communities?
But wait a minute. If you have those kind of permanent tent communities, who's going to run all of the traveling county fairs?
Well, when you're doing the fentanyl stroll, at least you'll be safe.
And which hotel was the lucky recipient of all the homeless people yesterday when the fireworks were going off? Because that's what Hogsett does. He just takes them to some hotel.
What do you have coming up today? Oh, wait a minute. I know. Him and me.
Both of you, as well as Robert Evans III. He's going to be looking for where Joe Hogsett was during the riots.
Ooh.
And Haya Rychek, the founder of Libs of TikTok, joins us.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hammer. It's the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting Gallon 25. Rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. And I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. You actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Earn cash back every time you buy gas. Text Gallon 25 to 200-300 for an exclusive link to download the free Upside app and get an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. Cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just text Gallon 25 to 200-300 to download the free Upside app and get an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus. Text the word Gallon 25 to 200-300. Text Gallon 25 to 200-300.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
If your leaky chimney is at it again, there's only one place to call. That's Chimney Solutions. Chimney Solutions has over 20 years of experience inspecting, sweeping, and troubleshooting chimney systems. From repairing your masonry to waterproofing to chimney caps, they handle it all with craftsmanship guarantees. The Chimney Solutions team is Chimney Safety Institute of America certified and members of the National Chimney Sweep Guild. Call Chimney Solutions today at 317-757-6979. Online at chimneyindy.com. That's Chimney Solutions.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great. Seminars July 20th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight Loss Seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop Smoking Seminar 8 p.m. Or July 22nd at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight Loss Seminar 11 a.m. Stop Smoking Seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
It's hot again today, but a cold front might have something to say about that later on. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
He was named and arraigned. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The man accused of going on a random shooting spree in Philadelphia Monday, killing 5 people, injuring 2.
40-year-old Kim Brady Carricker facing 30 charges for this mass shooting. No bail for the 5 first-degree murder charges.
Fox's Aisha Hosni is on the case.
Police say Carricker was wearing a ski mask, bulletproof vest, and carrying a police scanner. Also an AR-style rifle and a ghost gun, an untraceable firearm likely obtained illegally.
Later today, a 2-day sentencing hearing begins for the man who massacred 23 people inside a store in Texas. Fox's Evan Brown has more.
Patrick Wood Crucius has already pleaded guilty to 90 different federal charges related to his committing a mass shooting inside a Walmart store in El Paso in 2019. Crucius, in comments he posted online, espoused a white supremacist and anti-Hispanic motivation.
Crucius faces multiple life sentences, but could still get the death penalty in Texas on state murder charges. Police in 2 cities are searching for gunmen in 2 shootings late last night or early this morning after fireworks celebrations. In Shreveport, Louisiana, 3 people were killed, 6 injured when a block party was shot up. A drive-by left 9 injured in Washington, D.C.
They fired shots in the direction of some of our residents that were outside just celebrating the 4th of July.
That's Assistant D.C. Police Chief Leslie Parsons. Thousands of Palestinians gathered on the streets of the West Bank protesting Israel's military operations.
Overnight, an Israeli soldier was killed amid heavy gun battles as the Israeli military withdrew from the West Bank town of Jenin. During this 2-day operation, the Israelis recovered multiple explosive devices along with dozens of rifles. 13 Palestinians were killed during the raid and 140 wounded.
Fox's Trey Youngst in Jerusalem. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Hot, but then a cool off. It's 85 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A cold front will move through later this evening, and that will bring with it some cooler temperatures tomorrow, but not before it brings some storms as well.
Looks like those storms should be weakening as they move into the area, but do have to be kind of on our guard this evening for potential for some strong storms.
Joe Neild with the National Weather Service. 2 women and a man were shot early this morning near the canal downtown. IMPD saying that it was just after midnight when the call came in, and they got to the canal near Indiana Avenue to find the victims.
It's very disheartening. Like anything, there's people that come downtown to try to have a good time and enjoy themselves. And this individual, opened fire on these individuals.
IMPD Major Mike Leeper, that was one of a handful of shootings from over the 4th. One up in Fort Wayne where a teenage boy was shot late Tuesday night. The boy is critical at the hospital. Police say the boy was in a car when someone fired shots into that car. No suspects in custody yet in either of those 2 shootings. Congressman Jim Banks, who represents areas around Fort Wayne, says the defense industry is a growing industry in Indiana.
The big idea of today is we make things in northern Indiana. Bring your innovation here and we'll make it better than anyone in the country in a more cost-efficient way.
On Inside Indiana Business, he says he's urging many defense companies to keep investing in Hoosier talent. It was a busy day on the 4th of July for the world's best competitive eater, and he also happens to be someone who lives in Westfield. John Herrick reports.
The Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest was delayed for a couple of hours because of the weather, but that just gave Joey Chestnut a chance to go out and spend some time with the fans. And once the weather moved out and the contest was back on, Chestnut won the hot dog eating contest for the 16th time, eating 62 hot dogs in 10 minutes. He's won this event more than any other competitive eater in the history of the contest. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Honey, is our car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My sister just got an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover our repair bills if anything happens to our car, new brakes, a transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait a minute, we pay nothing on the repairs? Ox gets it fixed for us? Free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance? What's the number?
800-240-1465. Ox has a 30-day money-back guarantee and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike other warranty companies. We should call now, 800-240-1465.
The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-240-1465. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care, 800-240-1465 or oxcarcare.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 5th. It is 5 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. However, Rob Kendall is on paternity leave. He's slated to come back Monday, I believe. But in his place today, Tony Kinnett is joining me. Thank you, Tony, for coming in today. You can find him on Twitter at TheTonus, and you can find me there at Casey Daniels 317. You can find us both right now on YouTube if you just want to type in Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar. You know what else you can find? Well, if you go to the White House, cocaine.
I love it. It's good
because
times.
That was discovered there. Okay, so President Biden and his family were away from the White House on Sunday when the cocaine was discovered. It was a white unknown powdery substance that had to be evaluated and tests determined. I don't know what kind of tests they did other than, hey, somebody put this up your nose.
Ready to say, yeah, huff it and see what happens.
See if you wake up a lot. But Hunter Biden, he was at the White House on Friday before they all went off to Camp David. He went there with his dad for the second week in a row, keep in mind. And then he did return back to the White House to watch fireworks, and also because he heard there was cocaine there. But seriously, like, how does it get there? How do they not know it's there? And now they're putting it under further tests. Like, what are they looking for?
I don't know, to see whose brand it's on. It's like, man, we got to return this to its rightful owner.
Right. And they're saying that, okay, Daily Mail is reporting that it was in the West Wing, not in the library. And if it was in the old executive office, it could have been the staff.
Well, that's the point I want to bring into here is that you guys really do not have any idea how much coke a lot of people do in D.C., and especially staffers and interns at the White House and individuals that are working for political campaigns. There's a reason that the Wolf of Wall Street uses it as a joke, and they talk about people being on coke all the time. It's because they are. That started in the 80s. That is something that is a very big hallmark of American institutional power, and that is how many rails of coke you can do before the 10:30 presser. And so when I see stories like this, everyone, is kind of shocked, like, oh, I wonder whose it is. And it's like, it would be easier to find out whose it couldn't be. Like, really? I mean,
shorter list?
Really, because so many people are doing that all the time in D.C., by the way, on both sides of the aisle, because Adderall is no longer strong enough for them. They need something that can really get them focused and raring to go for the 18-hour days. And so that's what they do. And that's the God's honest truth. And it's horrible, of course. Obviously, this should, of course, bring up the light that the White House has security cameras in every single room from several different angles, not only for security reasons, but for a myriad of other very important governmental reasons. And they record and they store their data in high definition. We could find out very easily whose cocaine this is. But, and by the way, they probably could have that out like now. I guarantee you it wouldn't take long to say, it wasn't on the floor here. It was on the floor here. Let's rewind 15 minutes of video
and see who was there.
It's not difficult, but alas.
Yeah, I'm sure that information, they already have it, but will it be dispersed?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You have a better chance of drinking safe tap water in Flint, Michigan than getting this information.
And what? It's just going to go away.
Like every other scandal. Again, this is like the people who say there were no scandals during the Obama administration. No, there were. We moved from scandal to scandal. And in Biden's administration, I say Biden's with air quotes around it because, of course, he's not running the show. It's really just scandal to scandal to scandal in real time, and maybe news will cover it, maybe they won't.
Okay, let's talk about this injunction. A U.S. District Court judge temporarily preventing the White House from meeting with tech companies. This is about social media censorship. And they argued that the actions in the past were likely First Amendment violations. And this suit alleges that the White House coerced or significantly encouraged, and that's in air quotes, significantly encouraged tech companies to suppress free speech during COVID, and also significantly encouraged social media companies to not only suppress free speech, but in some cases to direct speech.
And to ban those that are promoting, kinds of things that the government wouldn't want out there. This has been very overtly covered. There are a lot of individuals over at Twitter that have exposed a lot of different kinds of emails and things between federal executives and these social media platforms.
Twitter files.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it should be said very specifically that was genuine election interference and likely tipped some of the scales in some states in 2020. That when you want to talk about election fraud interference, that's really your best bet. It really is, because the government put its entire foot down onto how certain aspects of social media were run. The Biden campaign was reaching out constantly on Twitter, several bureaucratic institutions as well. And yeah, good for this judge. I don't think anyone, right, left, center, up, north, south, or down, should be able to tell a social media agency what to allow on the platform.
Okay, so they're saying that certain cabinet members and even the White House press secretary, they're not allowed to contact social media anymore. And yeah, it does include Google, Meta, Twitter. They're all named in the lawsuits. But they do say there are some exceptions, and that might include national security threats or criminal matters on social media. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Like if you're KJP and someone tags you and says, I'm going to do insert violent thing, then yes, you should be able to contact them. That's different than saying like, hey, the Biden administration has this new study on what is allowed. And so we're going to go ahead and put this here. And if you really want that corporate subsidy next year and you don't want the House to start that investigation into your affairs of that thing we talked about last week, then maybe you should consider adopting these things. We saw this with the teachers unions and the CDC during COVID when they altered the reopening dates for schools, or the recommended reopening dates from the CDC for schools. So this kind of behind the scenes threatening takes place all the time. And now social medias just aren't allowed to, operate within those means in the open.
Okay, but the exceptions include national security threats. Now, who's to say that someone in the Biden administration wouldn't say, well, those were national security threats. Everything we did during COVID, it's because that was a national security threat.
And that's the kind of thing that we're going to have to parse. And this is always the reason that the judicial rulings are a pain, because there is no way anymore to write something and say common sense will allow us to understand what that said, because the other side immediately is already looking at that and seeing whatever loopholes they can squeeze their fat butts through.
Yeah. That's Tony Kinnett. He's filling in for Rob Kendall today. It's 12 minutes after 11. It's 93 WIBC. All right, so let's talk about this article that was in the Indy Star. It's actually more of an op-ed. The Attorney General, Todd Rokita, his office, releasing that Parents' Bill of Rights. It specifies that parents have a constitutional right to direct the upbringing and education of their child in the manner that they see fit.
Oh, the horror. Can you imagine parents raising their kids? Oh my God.
How they want to?
The fascism.
Yeah. But this opinion piece in the Indy Star says differently, that the rights to an independent education must come before parents' needs for control.
So there's a few funny things about this article.
Let's put the teacher's word above the parents.
Right. So first of all, I think the funniest thing here is that, the funniest thing is that this is written by an assistant professor who looks exactly like every progressive white woman that you've ever seen. Every single one of them. They look the exact same. This is another one. I mean, picture it in your mind out there driving around Indianapolis. You can see her. That assistant professor who's going to lecture you about your parental rights with her 5 cats at home. Well, she first, of course, makes it very clear kids have a right to an independent education. Now, that doesn't mean they have a right to go to a school that they want, or maybe a differing school, maybe a religious school, homeschool. No, she means independent education is in like the school, the public school has a right to operate independent from your home. Meaning that you need to shut up and sit down, parents, because we're the educational experts.
Well, right.
And therefore we know what is best. That's what independent means. Independent means you're just in the dependence of the state. Duh.
But they're the experts, not the parents.
It's fantastically
They've been doing
stupid.
it for years. They have the license.
And then saying that, any kind of rights should supersede the rights of a parent. So people ask me often, because I have a friend inside the Indianapolis Star who feeds me some of their internal data that they do not want me to have. And I can confirm on the air that the Indianapolis Star is at a record low for annual subscriptions. People are not subscribing to the Indianapolis Star. Their little strike that their staffers are throwing a fit over because the Indianapolis Star won't pay for my cell cell phone plan and their byline strike, which has failed amazingly, things are crashing at the Indy Star. And Gannett is probably going to close it like they closed the Dayton newspaper, the Columbus newspaper. The Minneapolis Star Tribune is in similar trouble. And the reason is because they pump out crap like this. They do. When you accept op-eds and throw forward stuff like this kind of garbage, and when you do the kind of swill water reporting that a lot of their reporters do, people don't think that you're a reputable publication. The state does not own your children. And by the way, there was a Moms for Liberty chapter that just got in trouble for saying, hey, you know what? There was also a statist dictator in the 1930s who said that who owns the children controls the future. This sounds kind of strikingly like someone saying they want to own the children. My, how quickly they were proven right in about 3 days.
You tweeted out, when did you do that? Yesterday?
Yeah, probably yesterday.
Progressives were so distraught that the Museum of the American Revolution was hosting Moms for Liberty that they vandalized the museum.
Yeah, they spray painted FU on the Washington crossing the Delaware mural and then also the plaque next to it. And then in true BLM fashion, they broke a window into the building because, that's how you want to prove that you're, sane, rational individuals who aren't fascist. You use fascist intimidation tactics,
right?
Like vandalizing businesses that associate with people.
Nothing more anti-fascist than violent intimidation.
Yeah, defacing the Museum of the American Revolution right before the 4th of July. And by the way, these protesters were truly just wonderfully horrible people.
Was it a big crowd?
I mean, there were some sizable groups of protesters there. I mean, they said some wonderful things to me. A friend of mine was carrying her infant in her arms, and people were shouting out that they both hoped the child was trans and that they would die and that the child would commit suicide. So these are lovely people. I thought being trans was supposed to be a good thing, but I mean, when you throw it around like an insult, kind of sounds like you're saying the quiet part out loud.
Were you speaking at this event?
No, I was covering it.
Okay.
I sat 20 feet away from the stage and listened to a lot of interesting speeches. I actually covered events like the museum getting vandalized. I'm actually releasing a piece later today, if not tomorrow, about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and how he made a very bold-faced lie and a very cowardly one on national news concerning the Moms for Liberty Summit.
Okay, so what was your biggest hot take from the event? Like, what was the one thing that stood out to you at the Moms for Liberty event? Besides the vandalism,
how the hotel staff treated Moms for Liberty, which is solid gold. So first of all, the hotel staff, which is far more diverse than any protester at any group of protesters at that event, were not only phenomenal in taking care of the venue and taking care of those that were there. They actually formed a huge line as the conference was ending to thank the Moms for Liberty crew for coming, shaking a lot of hands, making sure that, it's like, oh, please come back. We really appreciate the work you're doing. Same with a lot of individuals. The Philadelphia Police Department is amazing. Oh my gosh. Like they are stellar. They did not bat an eyelash. They are a phenomenal crew of individuals. Really, the political diversity that was also at the event. People forget there are a lot of registered Democrats that are also at the Moms for Liberty event, who have a lot of varying political views and really genuinely just want to amplify parental rights.
Did you feel safe while you were there?
No.
Okay.
Well, let me rephrase. While I was in the building surrounded by 3 different security companies and the Philadelphia police, I felt safe.
Okay.
I did not feel safe when I was navigating Philadelphia downtown because, shocker, Democrat-run downtown areas are absolutely horrible and dangerous.
Yeah.
It smelled remarkably like the Indianapolis downtown, if you catch my drift.
We got a little lost at one point in my visit to Washington, D.C., and we ended up in Anacostia. Familiar?
Yep.
Yeah. And it was pretty scary. And I was with some people who can handle themselves. And they were like, no, we're out of here.
I this is one of the reasons that I will never, ever, no matter how politically involved I get, move to Washington, D.C. I can't carry. I can't. I like to carry. I like to carry because I like holding the trump card, knowing that if I had to defend those around me, and myself included, I would be able to do so effectively. And I don't like walking around cities in which I do not have my Heckler & Koch VP9 right at my waist. I don't. I like having the freedom to defend myself. That's something that I find personally very appealing.
It is 19 minutes after 11. That's Tony Kinnett. He's filling in for Rob Kendall today. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Aliens land in Washington, D.C. And the hatch opens up, and the leader of the aliens steps on the lawn of the White House and says, "Take me to your leader." And then this guy walks out of the White House.
The best way to get something done, if you hold near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated. That used to be me. Then I got this. Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right? Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus Food Digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Get $2 off at alignprobiotics.com.
Is your Generac home standby generator overdue for annual maintenance or an oil change? Schedule an inspection with a certified tech at Generator Supercenter to ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. GeneratorSupercenter.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting gallon 25 and rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stopped, opt out.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. And I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. You actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Earn cash back every time you buy gas. Text gallon 25 to 200-300 for an exclusive link to download the free Upside app and get an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. Cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just text gallon 25 to 200-300 to download the free Upside app and get an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus. Text the word gallon 25 to 200-300. Text gallon 25 to 200-300.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake kitchen and bath cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
How can you listen to this wacko?
And Casey Daniels.
Yeah. Yeah, baby.
On 93 WIBC.
22 minutes after 11. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall out on paternity leave. Tony Kinnett's joining us in the studio. Thanks for coming in today, Tony. I don't know if you saw this. This is just something I wanted to mention really quick. What's in a password? You know, you go into work, you got to log in, you got all your passwords. 84% of people have at least one of the following in a password that they currently use. Name of their pet, name of a loved one, a birthday of themselves or a loved one, an anniversary, a favorite color, a favorite movie, a name of a sports team, the word password or a variation of that, or also the name of a character from pop culture. Time to change your password if you're using any single one of these.
I mean, I'd find it kind of funny how individuals who I guess are supposed to take really good care of their stuff just don't. I mean, one of the reasons that there are so many thefts and there are so many victims of fraud and things like that is because people are just careless. And that's really the number one marker of someone who's the victim of a crime of theft or fraud is carelessness. I mean, you think of all the individuals who fall prey to those like telemarketing scams and things that tell you they're from the IRS, Microsoft.com. And it really frustrates me. I don't have any of these things, at least that I'm looking at here, in any of my passwords.
No.
No, it's a pretty complex series. And I don't use the same password for every site either. So, well, I don't have time to do that. Okay, well, then you're more vulnerable. If you're comfortable with that, then that's your call.
They're saying that some people, 17%, are still using a password from when they first learned to use computers. I find that hard to believe, though, because now you got to have a capital letter, you have to have a character, you have to have a number. And when we first started getting online and using computers, you didn't have to do that.
Well, they said some variation, right?
Yeah.
So the catch is, there is one password that I use that is a variation that has evolved over time from when I was in college, and it has changed numbers, it has changed certain letters, certain things have became characters, things like that. Yet the password has kind of kept its roots in a way.
It's a derivative.
Yeah, so I can see that, but that's only for one service that I use that I'm not too concerned about. I have a very complex alphanumeric password for like my heritage stuff.
I'm sure you do. I have to. Very complex.
I have to because the IT department gets very upset if it's not.
Okay, did you hear about this Sheetz stores? I don't know if you've heard of a Sheetz store.
I love Sheetz.
I love Sheetz in Pennsylvania. East Coast store. Yeah.
Best gas station coffee, period.
Really?
I'm addicted to it. Oh yeah, and it's not even like good quote unquote coffee. It's just I don't know why.
In a bun pot sitting there on the burner?
Basically, but it was something about the blend that they get is the best gas station coffee for me. I love it. Every time I go through Pennsylvania, I have to stop.
Okay, well, to celebrate 4th of July, Independence Day, they lowered the price of nearly all of their gasoline in honor of 1776.
I heard about this.
They charged only $1.77 per gallon on gasoline. I think the only one it didn't apply to is diesel. And it was limited time. It only lasted yesterday. It started at 12:01 and went all day long or until the gas stations ran out of gas. But it happened in all of their stores. They have 675 stores across Pennsylvania, Maryland, Ohio, North Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. Now, I drove through all of those states with the exception of North Carolina yesterday, and I saw a Sheetz, and we had to stop and get gas, and Sheetz was an option, or I think BP might have been the other option.
Sure.
The line was really super long.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To get into the Sheetz. So what do? Do you wait in that long line, or do you just drive across the street and pay $3.50?
I mean, I think it's kind of like the Dairy Queen in Greenfield. When I drive by, you make a judgment. You're like, okay, it's kind of wrapped out into the road. How quick does it look like it's moving? I'm kind of guessing the DQ in Greenfield is connected to a Speedway gas station, which is really, we know when you get out of town and things start getting connected. And you just kind of wraps around into the street a little. You just make a guess because there's not really a drive-through line. It's just kind of a weird snake. Kind of guess. I don't know. So with the Sheetz, it's like, it's like, 4 or 5 cars. But if it's like wrapped around the block, well, then no. Like it's Carter's administration.
Right. Yeah. I guess you have to determine which is more important to you.
You got to make that
the actual
instant
dollar
dad
in
call,
your pocket or
right?
the time that you'll spend doing it. Okay, here's one more thing. Iceland is the most peaceful country in the world for the 15th straight year. This is according to a new report from the Institute for Economics and Peace. They released this annual 2023 Global Peace Index. And of course, they came out with their list of the top 10 countries that are renowned for peace and tranquility. Out of the 163 countries listed, the United States comes in at 131. So not doing so great.
I think this is really funny because Iceland has actually only one Icelandic constitutional foreign policy, and that is protecting the fishing rights of its borders. It has fought 3 wars with the United Kingdom, all in like the second half of the 1970s, 80s, with the UK over cod fishing. They're called the Cod Wars. And I think it's really funny that they started saying, oh, it's peaceful for 15 years in a row, because like 15 years in a row, they were starting to get testy with fishing rights in the UK again. So
that's a big problem for them.
Gee, it's really nice to not have to have a foreign policy when you know that you're right between 3 of the 5 eyes, which US, Canada, UK, New Zealand, and Australia, which is the real secret NATO. Like the rest of NATO, whatever, the real NATO is the Five Eyes intelligence organization. Yeah, they don't have to do foreign policy when 3 of those nations are next door.
When they're surrounded by everybody. Okay, so other countries on this list for being peaceful: Denmark, Ireland, New Zealand, Austria, Singapore, Portugal, Slovenia, Japan, and also Switzerland.
So, other than Slovenia and Switzerland, all of those countries are bordered regular patrol routes of the U.S. Navy. Every single one of those countries, save for Slovenia and Switzerland, are regularly patrolled by the United States Navy. You're welcome.
But yes, you're welcome. But yet we're sitting at 131 out of 163. It is 11:28. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indie and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indie. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndie.com. The gold standard for hair restoration.
Do you wonder what your home is worth in an ever-changing housing market?
Did you know that your home's value changes constantly due to mortgage rate changes, seasonality, and what other homes near you have recently sold for?
I'm Greg Cooper.
And I'm Lisa Phillips.
And we want to be your real estate resource not only when you move, but even when you aren't.
Our passion is to serve Central Indiana homeowners with the best information and advocacy available.
Try us out. Find out what your home is worth online right now at HoosierHomeValues2023.com.
That's HoosierHomeValues2023.com.
Are you working way too hard for way too little? There's never been a better time to consider a career in IT. You could enjoy a recession-resistant career in a rewarding field with plenty of growth opportunities and often flexible work environments. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new career in months, not years. Take classes online or on campus, and financial aid is available to qualified students, including the GI Bill. Now is the time. mycomputercareer.edu.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Lots of gunshots. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. President Biden calling for tighter gun laws after 3 separate mass shootings killed nearly a dozen people and wounded over 3 dozen. On Monday, 3 people were killed and 8 wounded in Fort Worth, while 5 people were killed and 2 others wounded in Philadelphia. In Baltimore, 2 people were shot dead and 28 more injured early Sunday. 5 people were shot here in Indianapolis late Tuesday night. IMPD says 3 people were found shot near the canal in downtown Indy.
It's very disheartening. Like anything, there's people that come downtown to try to have a good time, and this individual, opened fire on these individuals.
IMPD Major Mike Leeper says they're still trying to find the shooter. 2 other people walked into hospitals after being shot. All 5 expected to be okay. I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's the season for swimsuits, barbecues, and of course, fireworks. Doctors with the Richard M. Fairbanks Burn Center at Eskenazi Health encourage everyone to celebrate safely this July 4th holiday. Over the past several years, there's been an increase in the number of people injured during the July 4th holiday season. The Richard M. Fairbanks Burn Center at Eskenazi Health wants to remind you of these important fireworks safety tips. First, never point, shoot, or throw fireworks at another person. Next, never hold a firework in your hand or place any part of your body directly over a fireworks device when lighting. Finally, remember that fireworks can be dangerous, even for responsible adults. Never allow young children to play with or ignite fireworks. Always make sure kids are at a safe distance from any fireworks being used. For more information, go to eskenazihealth.edu. Click on Health Services, then Burn Center. Have a safe and wonderful July 4th holiday from Eskenazi Health.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 11:33. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall's still on paternity leave. I believe he's returning on Monday. But today, Tony Kinnett joins us. Thanks for coming in today, Tony.
Absolutely.
So the National Education Association recommended that teachers include the book Gender Queer on their summer reading lists. The book is featured on the NEA's Great Summer Reads for educators. Now, this list showcases about 11 different books, but Gender Queer is one of them. It's courted a lot of controversy. Yeah. It's been challenged for its depictions and descriptions of different things like oral sex, as well as discussions on masturbation.
Oh, no, this is kind of the interesting thing. You can't just, use the corporate-y academic buzzwords when describing genderqueer. I mean, when there are literally scenes depicting the child fantasizing about giving oral sex to an elderly Greek philosopher, that would be pedophilia. You can't actually discuss all of the different instances of showing kids how to use sex toys and encouraging kids to experiment with all kinds of sex and especially experimenting with adults and say, oh, well, everyone should be reading this. No, it's a horrible book, and it should not be in front of any child at any age of being a minor. But, this is par for the course for Becky Pringle's NEA. It looks like the conservatives were right. Oh, these books do contain the exact porn that we warned you about, and they are pushing it on children because this NEA list isn't for adolescents. It's not for older teens in high school. It's just a general summer reading list.
Yeah, a summer reading list. Why would they put this on the recommended summer reading list?
Oh, because that's the thing to do. You see, we have to promote LGBTQ+, and why they say that being LGBTQ+, 2IA86753009, Jenny, I'll call your number, doesn't have anything to do with sex. It isn't anything sexual. It is. Every time you go to a pride parade, the sex and the kink is fully on display. And every time you crack open one of these books, the sex and the kink is fully on display. And anytime they go to a rally, the sex and the kink is fully on display. Anytime you look at legislation, the sex and the kink is fully on display. But it's not about the sex and the kink, Casey. No, God forbid.
It's completely okay as long as it's being done under the rainbow flag.
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, you can have those same individuals at the New York City Pride Parade chanting, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children," and shouting it over individuals who were trying to change the chant in the middle of that demonstration. It appears that what the Republicans, and well, not all Republicans, because you have other governors, certainly like Holcomb, who try very as hard as they can, or Sue from Carmel, so hard to kind of shy away from this. She's going to go endorse pride events. Other conservatives are, again, continually trying to warn you as a bipartisan issue, maybe sex isn't for kids, guys. I know bold statements, but yeah, maybe don't give your book a kid about fantasizing about having sex with an old man. That just sounds like common sense parenting to me, but not so common anymore.
Just a reminder for parents to make sure they're aware of what the summer reading list is. Okay, so Zuckerberg's Meta Group, which of course owns Facebook, it's got a new app and it's in stores. It's called Threads.
An Instagram tomorrow or Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't come out till Thursday. And it's supposed to take on Twitter, even though Twitter was going through some changes over the weekend, limiting the number of tweets you could see in a day. So can Zuck beat Twitter?
So it's, first of all, let's take a look at why Twitter, pulled some of the bonehead moves over the weekend. So Elon got up in front of everyone and said, look, because there's a lot of data skimming and use a lot of other tech corporate words that don't really mean anything, he said, well, we're going to rate limit people on Twitter. So if you are verified, if you pay $8 a month, you can read up to 6,000 tweets. Read. And no explanation as to whether that's just scrolling or actually clicking on things. And then if you're not verified and you're just a member, 600 per day.
That's quite a difference.
Right. And then like 100 a day if you're unverified, or 300 a day or something. And then he ended up increasing that after some outrage. And this upset a lot of people because people are saying, why would you want to limit how much people can read on a social media platform?
Because his servers are getting overloaded.
So that's the catch. So there are two stories as to why this is happening. One individual says that there is a lot of data skimming and it's taking up a lot of bandwidth and they're trying to fix it. Okay. The other is that they had an agreement on contract to host with Google Cloud Hosting and Google servers, and the contract ended. And so they're trying to move Twitter onto different servers as quickly as possible. Whether either of those is true, Twitter is not yet going anywhere, and here's why. Number one, because Twitter is where news breaks. Twitter has replaced corporate media. Just has.
Yeah.
Twitter's far more important than a lot of the work that I do on a various number of platforms. I'm not saying that it's where news stays, but it's where news breaks. It just is. Whether you like it or not, Twitter is where news breaks.
Twitter always has been the app for news.
But
and
updates.
It
has kind of taken over so much that even like no one is going to NPR to find where news breaks. You go to NPR's Twitter account, which no longer exists. That's kind of the general idea. You go straight to the source. People follow me on Twitter because they get the breaking news, straight from the horse's mouth. The funny thing about Meta is that no one trusts Meta.
Sure.
Mark is very, very, very open that he censors political topics.
Right.
He's very, very open about the censorship that he's instituted on Instagram and Facebook. The funny thing is, though, that has a few asterisks. The reason that Threads is going to fail, just like Mastodon and the one that Jack created and all of Blue Sky and all the other ones, is because they just can't get the interest from a large enough group of people to go there exclusively, which usually is the upper-ended college age range. The second reason it's going to fail is because they're not running in the European Union. So Threads is already not opening in the European Union because of regulatory concerns. So almost all of Western Europe is just not going to use your app where everyone's supposed to connect.
So it's more than just a corporate policy change.
Yeah, the EU's like, we
They're
have
not
some
in people's
regulation
hands.
concerns.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to moderate. The European Union wants countries to regulate what's on Twitter. And Elon says no, but they still operate there because it's a behemoth and you can't move away from it. Threads is new. They're not even going to be running. It's going to collapse. I would say like CNN Plus probably within the first couple of months. Probably a lot like Parler.
Well, they're saying, okay, so you can pre-order this now. And if you do, you get a message that says it's expected this Thursday.
Okay.
And they put the expected in air quotes because if there's any problems, they can always push it back a few more days.
So the ending point as far as Elon's business decisions are concerned is that does Elon completely know what he's doing with Twitter? Absolutely not. However, once Elon gets his crap together, he's kind of a juggernaut. And so right now what we're waiting to do is Elon is aware that people are criticizing it. He obviously isn't sitting there ignoring people.
But they're also not turning away. They're not like removing the app.
But they're
not so upset that I'm never coming here again.
Oh, yeah, like Rob Reiner and all the others.
No.
I'm not going to use Twitter anymore
just
with
gonna-
this. Of course they are. And by the way, the subscription
complain
model...
about it, but still use it.
Yeah, subscription model is working. I think there should be separate tiers. I think there should be an $8 a month option, and then to read it, to read a bunch of tweets or whatever, $1 a month or whatever.
Are you
or
paying
50
for
cents
yours?
a month.
Are you Blue?
I have two Twitter accounts. One would be mine and one would be the Ministry of Truth. Mine personally, the verification is paid for by my employer because it's useful to have a journalist whose stories get a boost when they release. Number two, the Ministry of Truth is actually paid for by a fan. There's a fan out in Kansas who pays just as like Patreon kind of a thing.
Sure.
They pay for my Twitter verification.
They love your content so
Yep,
much.
they have a
They're
little
willing
space
to
on my
front their
website,
own
on
money
my
for it.
merchandise
That's
site.
fantastic. Okay, well, good for you. I pay for mine because unless you pay the $8, you can only put a 2-minute video up, and sometimes our videos are much longer than 2 minutes.
Yeah, if I were ever...
So I want the space.
If I ever were to have a longer form show, wink, wink, then I would probably end up uploading the entire episodes both to YouTube and Twitter.
And that is our commitment, right?
Yeah.
Money out of our own pocket. to make it
Absolutely.
good.
Money out of the guy in Kansas's pocket.
Right.
Thanks, John. Appreciate
Money
it.
out of his pocket. Okay, so Bud Light sales, they shrank 28% this past week, and it was their second worst year-over-year sales decline since the whole Dylan Mulvaney backlash began.
Well, they've doubled down. Have you seen the videos?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, they're not apologizing
No,
either.
they're
saying they're going to continue to support the LGBTQ plus organizations.
So they're trying. So there are two social media strategies. Well, excuse me. There are three social media strategies that you can attempt when things hit the fan. Number one, you can apologize, which in this case Bud Light should have done, and they probably would have gotten a sizable portion of their market back. Number two, you can ignore it and just kind of hope that it goes away someday. A lot of organizations do this. School boards, especially in Indiana, do this, to kind of put a name to the face. And they just ignore it, hoping that it goes away. The third option is to steer into the skid. Now, I actually advise individuals to do this. So a lot of like Moms for Liberty groups and things, I'm like, the last thing you ever want to do is apologize because they won't accept your apology, especially when dealing with the left. To steer into the skid that's already costing them money, and then say, we're just going to double down as though like the LGBTQ community, who's already super crunchy anarcho-communist, is like suddenly going to start drinking Bud Light. It ain't going to happen.
Nope.
So, I mean, shooting themselves in the foot, reloading and firing again is quite the strategy. I really, because they can't win at this point. They really can't.
No, unless they come out and say, we made a huge, colossal mistake.
And by
We're
the way,
so sorry.
it was possible.
It'll take them a very long time to regain that trust because once it's gone, it's gone.
So I mentioned earlier that the carry pistol that I use is made by Heckler & Koch. So I love their business model. I think they make very excellent firearms. They had a lady running their social media who was an idiot, who was starting to do stupid woke stuff, and they fired her. Mm-hmm. And then after they fired her, they made fun of her and brought the new social media guy on and had him doing the Jurassic Park gif where it's Jeff Goldblum looking at the big pile of poop. And he's like, we got a lot of work to do. That's a good way to do the model. By the way, their sales went up immediately after they did that. Right now, I saw, while I was in Philadelphia, the oldest pub in the city tear off their Bud Light neon sign while I was there and throw it in the trash.
They don't want it?
No.
People
Why would they?
Yeah.
No, the business doesn't want them. They don't want working class men who just want to be here after a long day, which was 90% of their market. 90% of their market was dudes getting off work who just wanted a beer at the end of the day.
Tell me what else happened. You said you saw something at the National Constitution Center,
I love
Franklin
this so
Square.
much. So the National Constitution Center is a beautiful building in Philadelphia that celebrates the greatest document on earth other than the Holy Bible. That is the U.S. Constitution. And they have a huge display up. They say, explore our newest galleries, including the 19th Amendment, how women won the vote. So talking about suffrage.
Sure.
And so they have Ida B. Wells, who was a very big abolitionist, who talked a lot about women also getting the vote. Talked about Alice Paul. She's also one of the featured individuals. And then Ruth Bader Ginsburg. For women's suffrage. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg was born in 1933. Women's suffrage passed the Supreme Court in 1919. So great suffragette Ruth Bader Ginsburg, not even a twinkle in her dad's eye. Apparently, great woman suffragette. Excellent stuff.
Well, was it just a display, or were they trying to be historically accurate?
It's the whole.
These are women who helped.
She's like 1/3 of the event. Like she's 1/3 of the exhibit, which is hilarious to me. I mean, imagine. I don't even have an analogy cooked up for this one yet. She has nothing to do with women's suffrage, and she's taking 1/3 of the exhibit.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're just trying to make it more modern take. I mean, she did do many things for women's rights, though.
I mean,
so maybe that's their angle.
I mean, except that her party
it's inaccurate.
Except that her party held back women's rights for like 50 years. And the party that she grew up in, not, after all of the, trying to rewrite history with the Southern strategy flip of the 60s that wasn't actually a thing. Ruth Bader Ginsburg in her young life was an active Democrat. So again, the same party that strove very firmly to fight, against desegregation, to fight against treating women equally in society, that fought against the family. Way to go. I mean, celebrate the work that she did. I seriously love it when the left pulls up a puppet.
Okay, one last thing I wanted to touch on before we get into a break. There's this woman in Texas. She's 90 years old. She retired from Dillard's after working there for 74 years. Can you imagine working at the same place for 74 years?
I really want to ask Pat Sullivan and Denny Smith, who have basically been on the air at WIBC for 70 years, about this one. I mean, Pat Sullivan, he's really great at home and garden because I'm pretty sure he was around when gardening was invented. But aside from that, good for someone who enjoys an environment enough in which they're willing to put in 70 years. I don't think I would have done that at Dillard's personally. I don't think so, but I'm at a place right now where I think that I could work there for the rest of my life.
One of the only reasons she's leaving is probably because it's closing. Brick and mortar.
Oh, is it? That's why she's not. Oh, no.
I mean, it's probably going to happen at the same time. It's 11:47. It's the Kendall and Casey Show. That is Tony Kinnett. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, what the affirmative action decision really means, and why is Chris Christie talking about Jared Kushner in the Middle East? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC. Are you struggling with cracked or broken siding? Is your home in need of a facelift? Look, it happens, and there is no need to stress. Moss Roofing has got your back. Moss Roofing can help you maintain a beautiful exterior with quality siding. Improve your home's exterior with low-maintenance vinyl siding or beautiful and durable James Hardie siding products. Moss Roofing is the go-to contractor for all your home improvement needs. Trusted in Indianapolis for roofing roofing and siding for over 25 years. Now is the time to talk to Moss Roofing about your roofing and siding needs. 317-747-3665. Moss Roofing, for your roofing, for your siding, for your insulation. 317-747-3665. 747-3665 or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com, and tell them Tony Katz sent you. Moss Roofing, for your roofing, for your siding, for your insulation.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I had lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminars Thursday, July 20th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, July 22nd at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration is 30 minutes before the seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Did you know 96% of Americans, 96% forfeit $111,000 in Social Security income? It's true. It's Terry Stacy. Learn how you could avoid this with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, my retirement guy in Indy. My friend Bill knows Social Security like the back of his hand. This free analysis pinpoints exactly when you should file for Social Security while considering your taxes, spousal benefits, and Medicare premiums. If you've saved at least $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-349-5212. Save yourself a ton of time and don't lose one dime in Social Security income. Schedule your free analysis by calling 317-349-5212. 317-349-5212.
Have you ever dropped off your documents for shredding and wondered what happened to them? At QuickShred, documents are shred right in front of you at their retail location on East 62nd Street. No appointment needed and convenient curbside assistance is provided. No matter how big or how small, they shred it all. You leave knowing your confidential information has been completely destroyed. QuickShred is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturdays, 9 to 2. QuickShred at 62nd and Binford Boulevard. QuickShred.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance.
If you don't live near a Low T Center or just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started on treatments. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
And face the strange changes. Don't wanna be a richer man.
Good morning, it is 11:52. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall still on paternity leave, and Tony Kinnett is joining us today. What were you talking about? This coming from the Associated Press. Iran tried to seize 2 oil tankers.
Yeah, so Iran has been getting frisky near the Strait of Hormuz. They're trying to seize oil tankers. They have tried seizing some from the United States. They've tried seizing them from China, which is also kind of a bad move for Iran. And they fired shots at the tankers, and maybe perhaps, again, we're still learning information, might have actually been firing shots on U.S. naval vessels as well. But the U.S. Navy is now putting up with more Iranian shenanigans and trying to seize oil vessels near the Strait of Hormuz. I think there's a very simple solution to this, which is just conquer Iran. Really, and I really genuinely do think that. I think it needs to be conquered. I think it needs to be made a U.S. territory. They're completely persecuting their women there. And why do I think that it needs to be? And I don't mean conquered and liberated, like its own free place. I mean conquered and made a U.S. territory and be renamed Persia. And the reason why is because it's not like Afghanistan and Iraq, which are not necessarily countries. They're very loose associations of individuals. Iran is a lot like Saudi Arabia. And so Gulf War Part 2, send everyone in, just take the country. Just take it, take all of the muhabadin, all that control the country, and just put them all up on their knees, get rid of them, that entire horrible woman-beating organization, remove them, install a new government that we run, and there you go. We'll take Iran. That's my honest-to-God answer for the solution. It would be much better. Russia, who we would have worried about getting involved before, they're a little busy at the moment.
Yeah, well, with more actions like this, you might have your chance. You never know. It is 11:54. He's Tony Kinnett. It's the Kendall and Casey show on 93 WIBC. So some scientists have said that these things, they're so intelligent that they could be aliens. What am I talking about? Here we go. Octopuses again. Okay, so Tony, last week you weren't here. There was this story about this octopus that was found in the bathroom of a park in Columbus. And then we got on this whole tangent about octopuses.
Yeah, how they get out of their tanks at night and go do stuff and get back in their tanks in the morning.
Is that what was going on in that bathroom?
No, I mean, it aquariums all the time. Like they've security camera footage has recorded octopuses like getting out of their tanks, like walking somewhere and then like walking back and getting in their tanks by the morning.
Well, somebody told me that I had to do a little bit more research about octopuses because they're affectionate, curious, playful. They feel pain. They get bored.
Okay, that was written by someone at PetSmart. I just want to let you know. I was like, they're affectionate and like curious.
They like hugs, long walks on the beach.
Yeah.
And then somebody recommended that I go to Jungle Jim's Market in Cincinnati.
I love Jungle Jim's.
Have you been there?
Oh my gosh, it is a trip. Whenever we get to go to the biggest, it's like 7 Walmarts glued together.
Yep.
Oh, I love it. And I love it. I love Jungle Gyms.
So we went, stopped, and they were sold out of octopus. They had it going for $8.99 a pound, but they didn't have any left. And now there is these experts now are mobilizing to oppose plans for there's this world's first commercial octopus farm. It's a $71 million project that's being planned. And now people are saying no, that we need to shut this plant down because these octopus are magnificent creatures and it should be banned.
Okay, animals don't have souls. I hate to tell everyone on the air that. I'm so sorry. I know that really upsets people. Animals do not have souls. Even if they can cry, they can whine, they can express hormonal regulatory emotions. Animals don't have souls. I'm sorry. If I want to eat octopus, I will. I'm sorry. I know it walks across the floor. It's not lovable and cuddling and just your animal likes you because you give it food. That is why. And this is coming from a lecture I used to give my junior hires. It's the truth. Biologically, animals only appreciate humans when they give them food. There is no other reason for an animal to nuzzle up against you. It doesn't have a soul. It's food.
Hey, did you hear about this before we get out of here? Overstock is going to change its name.
To what?
Overstock.com. You've heard of them, right?
Yeah. Like the American Wish.
Yeah.
I've heard of them.
They're changing their name to Bed Bath & Beyond. They bought the rights. Bed Bath & Beyond went bankrupt, right?
Good. I can't wait for Overstock to increase their prices by 300%.
Overstock.com acquired the rights to the company, and now they're going to be Bed Bath & Beyond.
Great. Fantastic.
Thank you, Tony. You're going to be back on Friday, right?
That's right.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Kevin. Good job, and thank you for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow on 93 WIBC.
We all know that feeling. Unexpectedly, the car breaks down, costing you hundreds or thousands of dollars from your emergency fund. Protect yourself and your car with Ox Car Care. Avoid the headaches and save thousands of dollars on repairs. You don't pay, Ox pays. Get 0 repair bills and 0 headaches. Ox takes care of their claims from start to finish. Unlike the other warranty companies, Ox Car Care members get free oil changes, free tire rotations, and free roadside assistance. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee and are A+ rated with the BBB. Drive with peace of mind, like our friend Bill Auberlin, professional race car driver.
Hi, I'm Bill Auberlin. My cars mean everything to my success. The same goes for my personal cars, too. That's why I trust Ox Car Care to make sure I'm covered when expenses and repairs come up. Ox Car Care has my back and they'll have yours too.
Drive with peace of mind. Call Ox Car Care for a free quote. 800-240-1465. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care. 800-240-1465. 800-240-1465. Or oxcarcare.com.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol. When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Is your Generac home standby generator ready for the next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. GeneratorSupercenter.com.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the new